Live. Right, so where were we? Let's fuck it, let's do it live. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Flat Earth Yes Really stream. I'm here with my dudes.
I'm one of them.
Hello. Me too.
Alright, fine, I'll introduce you myself. We've got a philosophical mind, we've got a purposeful discussion, and Mr. Mockery of Voltaire. So lads, Flat Earthers, are they insane or are we insane?
Depends on who you ask. But
Well,
if you're asking me, then I would say that we're the ones who
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, we're the insane ones.
We're the insane ones? We're the insane... What, because we're given the Flat Earth airtime?
Okay.
Like we're actually entertaining the idea of a flat Earth. Is that why we're
the idea of a flat Earth? Okay, so I'm going to say it's safe to assume that the four of us that are here are not flat Earthers, right? So
Correct.
Anybody want to step up and reveal their deepest, darkest secrets? No? Okay, I didn't think so.
No,
You really don't want to hear my deepest, darkest secrets, dude.
Now I do.
Yes. Now we do. Do they involve God creating the firmament around the Earth?
No, they were guards strangling priests with the entrails of kings. So
Yes.
Nice.
Right. Well, we'll cover that later. Let's stick with the flat Earth for now.
So to be to be fair, we'll need somebody to play devil's advocate or whatever, or dolphin's advocate. I'll subject myself to that. But just to be forewarned that every one of my rebuttals to everything that anybody says about flat Earth versus round Earth is going to be, well, I haven't seen it with my own eyes, so it must not be true.
That sounds very fair and very firm. And
show me the curve.
I mean, it's not that much of a straw man.
Show me the curve. Just show it to me.
How do you feel about taking because I mean, what's really inspired me to do this, and something that's really pissed me off about it, is recently there was a chap in America. I'm not saying he was of the lower intelligent class, but he definitely was of the lower intelligent class. That took a spirit level on a plane from North Carolina to Seattle, and recorded aforesaid spirit level for the best part 25 minutes, and the bubble didn't move. Therefore claimed that the Earth was flat.
Spirit level.
Yeah, a spirit level. I don't know what you call them in America. Do you call them spirit levels?
If we do, it's something I've never heard of.
Right, you know when
I've already heard that
Plane
joke.
ride.
you know, like when you're building a table or something, and you rest a level on it, and it's got like a cylindrical
just a
tube
level.
of fluid with
So
a
just a level.
bubble in it.
Yeah,
It's
call
just
it
called
level.
Just a leveler.
All right, then just a leveler. Right, I'm the odd fucking one out here. Right, so he takes his leveler on a plane, and he's like, "Oh, well, look, the bubble hasn't moved throughout the entire flight, but there should have been 250 miles of curvature." And then he sort
That's
of like
the
whispers.
dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why would the bubble move?
I don't know, but
Doesn't
apparently
understand how
this
gravity
means that
works.
the Earth is flat. And I think it's bollocks, because I'm not even sure a spirit level or a level would work in a pressurized environment.
Well, not
Where-
only that, the plane stays level to the fucking curvature of the Earth. Like, otherwise, you would literally fly off into space, right?
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, that's what they are. That's what they are claiming. They are claiming that the plane has to keep pressing the nose down, to level the plane out. Otherwise, they would just fly off into space, and that's
Now-
why the Earth is flat.
I've spoken to a
That's
pilot.
that's counterintuitive. Like, the plane has to keep pointing its nose down because the Earth is fucking curved.
Yeah, it does. And the way they do that, the way the pilots do that, is they make microscopic adjustments. Like the autopilot makes microscopic adjustments throughout the entire flight. So it gives the appearance of level flight, but it is curving with the Earth. So the spirit level wouldn't move because it's still perpendicular to the Earth.
I
So
wish
it
I'd have
wouldn't
been
move.
like next to that guy on that fucking flight, just watching, just watching him with his level, just holding it in the air, like watching it the whole way. Like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like, literally, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
So let me answer this in a way they can understand. Well, I didn't see the guy using the level, therefore not an argument.
Therefore, it didn't happen. Prove it to me.
I can get you the link if you like. If you want to peruse the article, it's on the Independent. But
Oh, of course.
it went viral.
Why?
Like, in all honesty,
Why
it
does
has
that kind
been
of shit go
proven
level?
since.
Why does it go viral? For the same reason people stop traffic just because there's a car accident on the other side of the highway.
Rubbernecking.
Yeah, but we have
Crazy with
known
like
that the
slapstick
Earth
comedy.
was round since 300 fucking BC. Like those guys that today are claiming that the Earth is flat. Like, how the fuck do you get there? It has been proven since Aristotle, for Christ's sake.
Well,
I know he calculated the Earth's surface area down to like 264 something miles, just through idle speculation as to where Greece was on Earth, and he did that with almost no tools.
I was going to say, didn't he do that by like measuring the shadows or something, with like a pole of underground
That's how you would do it, yeah.
Yeah,
or something, wasn't it?
I
yeah, he
didn't
did one in Egypt and one in Greece. It was he had heard that in Egypt on Midsummer's Day at noon there were no shadow in Cairo, Egypt. So he planted a stick in Greece and measured the shadow, and then he calculated the Earth circumference by that.
Yeah,
Yep,
because he was a
sounds about
mathematical
right.
genius. But the way the flat earthers like denounce this experiment is the fact that is that, oh well, you know, it happened before science was a thing, so therefore results
And
are.
they weren't there to see it.
No, I mean the argument behind it is literally, well, no one was there. It wasn't real science, therefore bollocks, because the
Yeah.
Earth isn't that old.
Yeah, but other Greeks were there. Greek historians have written about it, so other Greeks were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, and every peripatetic and his aunt was pretty much recording what Aristotle was doing word for word. Because, you know, Ermagerd, it's Aristotle. That, and he received funding from Alexander the Great. He was the first state-funded scientist in history.
Oh, but
I'm
he wasn't.
pretty sure the
He
records
wasn't
are
a
good.
real scientist, according to flat earthers. He wasn't a real scientist.
Yeah, because he basically invented empiricism as a technique in terms of an organized practice. You know, at least empiricism as we know it from both Aristotle and Bacon, anyway. So it's utter
Okay.
bullshit.
Yeah, but then, okay, if you want to throw out Aristotle, you can just go forward about 100 years and you got the what was his name, Aristophanes or something like that, who calculated within
Aristophanes.
2%. Yeah, Aristophanes, who calculated within 2% of the actual circumference that we know it to be today. It's just
but that's
like
not
it's
real
over
science.
2,000 years. And modern flat earthers didn't get back into fashion from more than a couple of 100 years ago. So,
Well,
like
the recent rise has been since what's his name? That rapper of a particular class.
Oh, B.O.B.
Came on the scene,
the guy who was
and-
featured in Meadowcrew's video.
Yeah, he the one that dissed off Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
he
he did like
did
a whole diss track called Flatline, didn't he?
Wow. How do you diss track Black Science guy? Like,
well, all things considered, while this particular rapper was wrong, Neil deGrasse Tyson has shown himself to be a charlatan on multiple occasions, as far as like, you know, going and overexpressing figures to be like, "Ooh, look at science." So he'll just generalize things when he's speaking and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's just enthusiasm, isn't it?
Yeah, he definitely does generalize. Yeah, I got with you on that one.
You know, it's I don't know. Maybe it's mostly because I don't know. I don't think a scientist should be acting in such a manner for the sake of showmanship, because that's not what science is about. But you know,
yes,
I have a mixed at best opinion of Neil deGrasse Tyson. That, and he's just sort of living in the shadow of Sagan. He's trying to be a new Sagan, and he's doing.
I completely agree with that. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with like generalizing numbers sometimes, especially if it makes things easier, because from where I'm coming from, like most of the people who watch Tyson's content aren't, you know, fellow astrophysicists. So it's not like if he just sat there and rattled off a bunch of like mathematical equations and shit interspersed with a few random words. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's easier to follow along if you generalize some things.
Well, yeah, you can be simple. It's just he'll go and change numbers to make things like he'll embellish findings.
Really?
And sometimes, yeah, like it's stuff like that. So it's that kind of stuff that I find rather distasteful. But you know, there are plenty of things to knock Neil deGrasse Tyson about on a consistent basis, but not believing that the Earth is flat is not one of them.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. You should send me some links to some of that stuff later.
Yeah, I heard about it mostly through the Rageaholic when he was responding to the Amazing Atheist. But you could probably I'll link you his video. That's where I got that general gist about Neil deGrasse Tyson. But I'll pop it to you in a when the stream is over.
Word. Is it YouTube dramas?
No, it's a refutation of an attack made by the Amazing Atheist on the Rageaholic, I believe. What's it? A Razor Fist or whatever? One of Sargon's buddies.
Oh god. So semi YouTube dramas, but not necessarily. I'll subject myself for it for you.
Yeah, community drama.
It's defending his honor, more or less. And when I say Sargon, I mean that's how he was, you know, sort of part of the community trademark.
That clique. That's just called a clique. I'm not calling it a fucking community anymore. It's a clique. They have a clique. They don't have a fucking community. They can't just claim the term skeptic.
Well, that's the thing. Well, I think only Armored Skeptic was claiming that. And I think he was the first guy to coin that because he wanted it to be like it needs to circle around skepticism because then it circles around me because I'm a near clinical narcissist.
Yes, essentially a narcissist that can't fucking even formulate his own goddamn opinion because he's fucking too skeptical of literally everything.
I used skepticism. Oh God, poor JonTron. God damn it. Well, no, I know wasn't it that the video where he used like I used skepticism lol.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't even watch JonTron.
Yeah, but I digress.
Are they secret flat lorders?
Who the digressors?
No, JonTron and Co. Are they secret flat earthers? Are they flat lorders as well as shirt lords? That'd be interesting.
Flat lorders, yeah, I like that.
Flat lorders, coining that. I'm claiming that.
Flat lorders.
Flat lorders, claiming it.
I think flat earthers are just the type of people who fall way too deep down like the conspiracy theory YouTube black hole.
It does seem like a rather extensive deep black hole with a massive cover-up.
Here's the thing. Every time I talk to a flat earther, and when it's like typing posts back and forth on like some, you know, media or forum or whatever, it doesn't usually last long because I just don't fucking want to sit there and debate all day. You know what I mean? Like, what if I'm actually talking people, like face to face or over the internet or whatever? I will ask them a few questions, and they'll say, "Well, what about this?" And I'll try to explain it to them the best I can because I'm not a fucking astrophysicist, right? You know, I can't explain like the technical shit. But ultimately, I'll ask them like, "What does it matter? Let's just say the Earth is flat. What the fuck does it matter?" And they generally don't have an answer.
Well, if the Earth is flat, it means our entire model of physics is wrong, and the government has been lying to us for centuries, effectively.
Okay, and?
Yeah, well, if they can lie to you about the shape of the Earth, what else can they lie to you about? Says the flat earther.
And
Yeah, what does it matter? Well, what if they're keeping the Niflheim entombed in Antarctica, and that's why we can't go there?
yeah,
I don't know what
well,
Niflheim are, by the way, but apparently that's a thing. I don't even.
I think that's the Giants
Are they?
thing.
That is the thing.
Oh, Nephilim, which is I'm pretty sure that's what that means. And isn't that sort of like the whole like a superhuman thing from Norse mythology or some shit?
I think it's
Yes.
the Giants. Like you see the go on.
They are called Jætter in Danish.
I think that's the Giants. Like you see the videos, it's like, oh, giant skeleton found, da 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 da, from some fucking backwoods country, and here's just a picture that we have of it.
What did you call them again, just to be sure?
Nephilim.
Mike? Nephilim.
Nephilim.
They're from the Bible.
Something like that.
Nephilim.
It
Nephilim,
doesn't
they're
matter
from the
because
Bible.
they don't exist, so they should.
Yeah. Well,
Every religion has giants.
yeah. I mean, every mythology has like some form of giant. It's like I can tell you about the Scottish and Irish giant that created the Giant's Causeway, even though it was a volcanic eruption, as explained by science. But I mean,
Well, it's not hard.
Well,
It's
it
not
was
hard
a
to
giant.
believe in giants because I mean, if we look at history, like the average height of people in various different societies throughout history has been relatively shorter than it is now, right?
Yeah.
But even now, we still have like people who are like tall as fuck, right? Like look at basketball players. So if you took like some of our basketball players, you know, and they were just born to these families thousands of years ago to people whose average height was like 5.5 feet, 5 feet, whatever, they would be fucking giants to these people. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the way it is. So I understand like why giants are like part of mythologies and stuff like that. I just think that when it comes to like, oh, these gigantic like 50 fucking foot story, million trillion ton monstrous creatures that roamed the earth and controlled and lorded over the land, like, no, that's over exaggeration, like by and large, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get that, but I was watching this flat Earth guy the other day. Now, this guy is on the extreme end, what I think of the flat Earthers, because I couldn't find much more information about this. But he's one of the guys that's convinced that yes, Antarctica is an ice wall, but there is land beyond that with a second sun and a second moon, and there's land masses past it, like Port Anubis and Set, and places like this. And this guy was like, oh, because we all know the giants came from the Solomon Islands. And I'm thinking, have you been to the Solomon Islands? Like, you're aware of how small they are, like just in land mass
they're
alone.
very small.
I like the claim that we all know the giants. We all know the giants came from the Solomon
Yeah,
Islands.
I mean,
Like, whoa,
that-
I
that's
would like
what
to
they
consider
put out in this
myself part
video.
of the we, but I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he was
didn't know
like,
that.
well, we all know the giants, the Niflheim. They came from the Solomon Islands and like spread out across the world before they like went extinct, I guess, like before the last one died in like the 1950s in Hiroshima or some crap like that. And I'm thinking, like, what the fuck is this guy going on about? And he's like, well, what with global warming and everything, the gates of Antarctica are opening. So the giants, like the other giant tribes that have survived on these outlying islands, like Anubis and Set, so on and so forth, are going to come through the gates of Antarctica. And I'm sitting there thinking, what kind of drugs do I need to go on these highs?
And can I have some?
Yeah, and where do I get it? Is it
Yeah,
on
how
the
do I
free
get
market?
to where you're at, my dude? Like, because clearly watching these videos isn't doing it for me. So there's got to be something else.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fairly like rational human being. I'm not saying that I can think like you, philosophy trained people, but even I know that that's a load of shit. If I'm pretty sure by now, with our like level of technology and stuff, if there were land beyond Antarctica, we would have invaded it and taken it for all the resources possible by now. We would have fought wars over that.
Not
Yeah,
even that.
it
Could
wouldn't
you
be in the
please
best
explain
interest
to me?
for us to hide.
Could you please explain to me how an advanced, ancient, fucking gigantic civilization would somehow just be held back by a fucking wall, like, or some mountains or some sheets of ice? Like, do giants not know how to climb? You know, can giants not fucking dig? Like, what? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, oh, just this ice wall, it's holding them back. There's a whole other land beyond our land. How? Explain to me. Why is it so important? Okay, so say the ice sheets melt, and then what? A bunch of like completely fucking retarded giants like flood into Antarctica? Like, oh no. Oh fucking no. Time to worry, right? Like yeah, these things couldn't even climb. Like, what are we worried about? Obviously they can't swim. Like, if you can't climb, I have a hard time believing they could swim. So now they're just trapped on Antarctica. Ooh. Fuck. Like, just none of their arguments make sense to me. Like, literally none of their arguments, or none of them follow like or adhere to any form of like rational chain of logic.
Maybe some of these people are just hardcore Attack on Titan fans.
I would like to think that some of them are just like legit doing it to fucking meme.
I hope so.
Are we getting a legit flat earther on here? Because I would love to have that happen.
Well, there is a chap in the chat who would like to come and chit chat with us about it.
Fuck.
So we might actually get some answers to our questions, because I really want to know how solar eclipses happen, if the moon and the Earth rotate at 180-degree angle from each other around the equator. Like, I'm really interested to find out that.
I want to know how giants can grow to prominence on a very fucking tiny island, and then spread themselves across the world, and then also somehow get magically locked beyond the Arctic wall, quote unquote Arctic wall, and then also after getting locked behind the quote unquote Arctic wall, can't fucking escape it. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Are you telling
me you haven't watched Game of Thrones?
No, I actually haven't. Does it explain everything? Because that makes me want to.
Yeah, that giant's not behind a giant ice wall.
Oh my god. Maybe that's what it is. Lots of drugs in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Is this? I guess
he just wrote his email.
Sorry.
To Mike. He wrote his email.
Yeah. I've sent him a handshake so he can come and banter with us.
Cool. Come join Shirtless.
I've literally tried for weeks to get a flat earther on the show to come and have a chat about it, and just none have deigned to.
You should have just put the link to the hangout in the chat.
Yeah, but then we could get
dangerous.
Anyone could join.
I tried.
Yeah, and then you could just I don't know, boot them or delete the link after they join.
Hey,
Are you a giant trapped behind an ice wall?
I am.
They have Wi-Fi in Set, in Anubis.
Yes.
Yeah, Set and Anubis. Yes. I mean, most of these islands were named like after. I'll try and get them.
Egyptian gods.
They were named after Egyptian gods, and the sun was called like Bol, B-O-L, instead of the Earth's soul. It was weird, man.
That's fucking brilliant.
Look, all I know is I live in a day and age where I can get pretty fucking good medical treatment. I have fucking technology. Life expectancy is way fucking vastly farther than it was. I could do all types of things that are very entertaining. Like, just don't see how a flat Earth like changes that just because my government is lying to me. Like, dude, my government lies to me about all types of shit, and time just keeps marching on.
Yeah, but why?
But why?
Why would they lie about that?
No, sometimes like the ancient or the movies about like ancient stories or whatever, and like someone will like come across some artifact that's like all knowledge or all knowing, and they'll touch it and they'll be like, I know everything, and then like their face melts and their hair catches on fire and they die a fucking gruesome death. I don't want that to happen. That's got to be real, right? Prove to me it's not real. If I haven't seen it with my own eyes, it's not real.
Oh, Indiana Jones is real. Oh, we got Shirtless. We are not related.
You guys hear me?
Hello, Shirtless.
Hello.
Yes.
What up? All right, so memeing aside, I guess we're gonna have a purposeful discussion. Unless you're just memeing. Are you memeing, or is this like legit? You think this is real, or?
Yeah, can you guys hear me? Like,
Yeah,
all
we
right.
can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you all
just
right.
fine.
I like your avatar though. That's pretty dope.
Right? That's why I'm trying to. This is like my 10th hangout I've ever been on. I just started the whole YouTube bit.
Oh, okay.
Well, welcome to the show. Anyway,
Thank you.
so you are a legitimate flat earther, and from what I've been saying,
Yeah,
like in my
sure.
monotone for the last 10 minutes, do you agree with that, or do you not agree with that? Like the whole lands beyond Antarctica thing. I want to know where you are on the flat Earth scale before we put you over the fire.
Okay, I don't want to branch between belief and knowledge, because when I say I'm a flat earther or whatever, that's a lame quip. It's not fun being a flat earther. All people do is put me down. Like, people don't want to come on these hangouts because we get put down so much in life that we don't want to get put down on the internet. But the reason I know,
You're like the whitest male of the white males.
the reason I know the world isn't a spinning globe is because that's testifiable, that's demonstrable. I just went out and looked, found out that I could see islands miles and miles and miles off that are supposed to be well behind curvature, and that was in Florida. Now I'm in Ohio, and it's the same bit. I can see things way off that should be well behind curvature. I hear things like refraction and this and that, but it wouldn't work past 60 miles. I mean, there's just things that can't be explained. But when it comes to like the ice wall and Nephilim and all that, like, the reason I believe there's an ice wall is because I believe there's a dome. Not that there's a dome for just like one specific structure, but because the creator made everything like an infinite plane, you know, no space or any of that, but an infinite plane, and put a dome in to keep certain entities in and the human race, which then again goes on to belief. But still, whenever I get detractors about flat earth and like, well, what's the point? You have to think everything that they push would be a lie. Everything. I mean, even the mainstream news, the first thing they show you is a globe. Oh, there goes cosmology. Oh, we're going to have to relearn astrology. Oh, there goes physics. There goes theoretical physics. There goes everything that Einstein taught. There goes everything Newton taught. You know, everybody would have to redefine their terms. Whole college courses that people have spent hundreds of $1,000s will be proven to be jargon. That's my spiel, or whatever.
Well, there's already college courses that are basically robbing you of hundreds of thousands of dollars and providing you with nothing but completely useless degrees and whatnot. So I don't think that's really anything that's like super bothersome to me, at least. And then like when I say, what does it matter? More or less what I'm alluding to is like, there are people out there who think that believe in like simulation theory, right? That this is all basically just more or less virtual reality. Like our whole life is a simulation, this and that. And even to them, I say the same thing. Like, what does it matter? Like, to me, in my own world, in my own bubble, like I'm just going to keep doing what I do. Like changing the definition or definitions or whatever. Like, I don't really see it changing much of me. You know what I mean?
That's a good point, because I do see people who are kind of fanatical be like, oh, once the flat earth comes out, the whole world's going to change. I'm like, no. Look at people in Iraq or in Iran or in China who, when they get something devastating, whether it be natural or war, happen to them, you know, they get up the next day, even if they lost family, and go to work and do the things that they do every day.
Yeah, well, I mean, they just kind of have to, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's not as though the Earth being
go ahead.
completely like change the nature of human beings. It's just, okay, so it was flat, now it's not, or it's not flat, now it is. It doesn't affect everyone's day-to-day lives per se. So.
And that's such a mind blow, because so what are they trying to do? Are they just trying to direct our thoughts and make us believe what they want us to believe? Or are they just putting out truth out there to see who knows what level of schemes they're up to?
But what if it's not a scheme? I mean, what's the evidence that it's a scheme? Why would governments of the world, why would the space agencies of the world, why would every single human being for the last 500 years be led to believe that the Earth is a globe? What's the point? What's the end game?
Money, power, and control. You gotta think, instead of this being a system that was created by a creator who cares about us, and we should be helping restore and mend this place like a ship in the old days. Men of honor would stay aboard, mend the boards, help the ship sail on, but rats and cowards would jump off. And they want us to believe we can just jump off ship, go to some magical galaxy in a galaxy far, far away and meet Luke Skywalker or something and use the Force. When really, we're here for good. And it's not going to change everything. It's just going to help people be unified, which the only thing that unifies people nowadays is war.
Well, I'm with you on the fact that people need to be unified, and people should, in a general sense, like humanity, let's just say humanity, not people. Humanity should be more, I guess, willing to take care of where we're at, because even if we, okay, so even if flat Earth is a thing, right, and we just go by based off, like, you know, Manasseh's like projections of like human beings getting off the quote unquote Earth and going to another planet, like that's still generations beyond us, right? So nobody that's alive now and none of our kids are ever going to experience that, right? So in the meantime, human beings on this planet should be more concerned about sustaining, you know, for ourselves and sustaining for current future generations, not like thousands of years or hundreds of years from now or whatever the number might be. Like, it's just absurd to kind of think that way. Like, it is possible to think too far into the future.
True, and I kind of think a lot of flat earthers will get down on me, but I believe in Yahuwah. You know, I believe the Bible literally. Not like I don't go to church or anything and all that. I just think that it's true, and I believe that proving the Creator is the most important thing, because it'll make people respect one another. You know, if there's a Creator who created us and loves us, maybe we should love other people. And if we could just grasp that, like, I don't want to argue with people about the globe. I don't want to argue with people about which God is right. I just want to hear their opinions. Maybe one of us will stray from our own truth, finding out it really isn't truth.
Well, unironically, like, even if you take God out of the situation, and I'm agnostic. Like, if I had to pick anything, I'd be like a pantheist probably, right? But I'm not an atheist, and I'm not like a Christian or whatever. I'm just skeptical of the whole thing, because it's all ultimately beyond anything that I could even like comprehend, being just a human being on the planet Earth, right? But
right.
Ultimately, even if we believe of what we believe of science, we all come from the same place. Like, the entire solar system that we live in is a product of a prior star going supernova and exploding its fucking star juices out, you know, and then they spin around and gravitate, and everything that we're made of has come from this planet. It's you know, the basic premises of like matter cannot be created or destroyed, right? So in a sense, ultimately at the end of the day, we are all related. I mean, even like when the hippies are like, oh, we're part of the trees and all this and stuff, like, they're not objectively wrong. I mean, it sounds kooky, but they're not wrong.
And when you think of it on a Christian perspective, like, we came from the dirt, right? And we all came from Noah and his family, who then came from way back when or whatever. It's all similar, but the thing, like, we learn about Carl Sagan. I usually call him Carl Pagan, but that's just to joke around. They want us to believe that we're nothing, that we're a speck on a speck that's on a speck that's on a speck. We're just spinning at the speed of sound that's orbiting 100 times the speed of sound around a sun that's moving 1,000 times the speed of sound. We don't matter. But if the world is here, stationary, and there is a creator, of course we matter. And it matters what we do every day.
I think I know where you're coming from. I actually kind of feel the same way, insofar as much as like what you're describing is like, it's kind of irritating to watch these science specials and all they do is drum into you that you're insignificant. You're literally nothing in the grand scheme of things. I don't like that either. I have a I kind of have a problem with that. You know, like even if that was the case and the universe was, you know, which I think it is. I think the universe is a very large place and all this stuff. But regardless, whatever. I think that's what I think, right? So, but even given that, like, I don't think that I'm meaningless. I don't think that life on Earth is meaningless. At the very least, it's meaningful to me, and it's meaningful to those around us, and it's meaningful to the people that are on this planet, right? Like, it might have been some colossal astronomical accident for there to be life on this planet. You know, the proximity to the sun and the water and all the proper chemicals mixing in the water and producing all of the bio ingredients to fucking eventually make us who we are. But even if all of that is true, it doesn't mean that we're insignificant, because we're still here. So in my mind, to tell people to believe that they're insignificant in the grand scheme of things is kind of just like, I don't know, man. It's really insulting, honestly.
And it's counterproductive, even to their model. The ever expanding universe. I mean, if you look at their model, it shows this whole big, huge universe, blah, blah, blah. But when it shows our section, we're the only section that has a view that can actually look out. And I don't even believe this, but, you know, when I was a globe head, this is what I would show to people. Like, even in this model, we're significant. We're the only ones that can study throughout. We're not surrounded by stardust and blah, blah, blah.
Well, we are. We've got the Oort cloud that surrounds the heliosphere.
Yep, and the Kuiper belt.
And the Kuiper belt and other such things. We have a limited view from Earth.
Yeah, and the only reason
we can't see 90% of what goes on in the Milky Way because of our position in the Milky Way. Defined by cosmology.
We can't see with the naked eye a lot of things because it's hidden behind a lot of dust clouds. That's why they have to use like thermal imaging and gamma.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
Yep, and exposing apertures of light for long periods of time.
You want to know what a majority of us, including me, think the Milky Way really is? It's we think it's a crack in the ceiling or a crack in the dome, whatever you would have it.
A crack in the firmament. The firmament.
Have you ever looked at the sky through a telescope?
Yeah, Crow 777.
Have you ever looked at the Milky Way through a telescope?
Me personally, no. I got this information from Crow 777, who's been moon gazing and stargazing for decades, and that's the way he explained it. Like,
it doesn't look like a crack to me. Like I at one point had a pretty fucking powerful. Like I went and spent $2,000 on this thing. Like it was I overpaid on it because ultimately I didn't get $2,000 worth on it, but it's okay because I sold it later after I realized I wasn't gonna go out every night and drink by the fire and stargaze, right? So, but whatever, it is what it is. But still, I did use it, and I did observe the Milky Way, and I could see the face of the moon and stuff like this. And like, the Milky Way doesn't look like cracks in a dome.
It's too random to be a crack. Cracks are relatively uniform.
Even that aside, it's.
You said it's too random, but the whole basis of your theories are randomness.
Well, yeah, but if you look at the way the Milky Way is painted in the night sky, if there was a crack in the firmament, the crack would have to extend all the way across the firmament. If you just look at the position of the stars in the sky, the lights in the sky, so the whole damn thing has to be cracked. It's got to be cracked like that egg that you have for breakfast in the morning. You take your spoon, you tap it on the top, that's it. That's your firmament, cracked all the way around. So it's not a crack, it's on the point of shattering.
What if whatever the firmament is or the atmosphere, it's not something that can be cracked like that? It's more like kind of fissured. I don't know. You know, this all just gets in theoretical jargon. We could argue about this forever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately, it is possible for there to be something that would make it not crack all the way through. I don't think that's really a point that we really need to I think at that point we're just kind of arguing semantics instead of actual the core theories.
Arguing the model, right? So we'll go with firmament, possibly crack, not crack, Milky Way outside of it, painted onto it. What the fuck ever. Let's talk about the Earth itself. Now,
right?
Flat Earth. You say that the sun and the moon move around the equator, right? So how does that explain the seasons?
Sun and moon, being that they're the same size, like we get the story from like the old yin yang story, or the tortoise or the hare and the tortoise race. The moon has a consistent path that goes around the world as you would go around the block. And the sun does too. They get higher and lower, around 3,000 miles high. And the further they are away and the closer is what helps change the seasons. But the seasons aren't just directed by the sun and the moon. It has to do with the winds and the currents. We don't believe that the moon is what causes the tides, but the tides are caused by winds from the four corners of the world.
Right, okay.
And I wanted to talk about...
Just stop right there before you carry on. Right, if we're in a closed system by the dome, where do the winds come from?
Okay, so this is where I get into more theory. But as in there's entities or an extra supernatural force in the four corners of Antarctica, whether it's a ring, ice ring or whatever, I don't really care.
Right, well, needless to say, you can't have corners if there's a ring. So you're going to have to say 4 directions.
4 directions is a good way to put it. But that's what I believe. And the North Pole is what produces fresh water and mixes it with the salt water. And supposedly it's like a whirlpool, a giant whirlpool that pushes out water every 6 hours and keeps the flow of the tides. And this comes from things like ancient explorers going to the North Pole and saying it's this and that. Nowadays, we're not allowed to get to the North Pole. There's a dew line that if even a bird goes past that dew line, they'll find out and stop it.
Well, you can go to the North Pole in recent years. I mean, Top Gear went there in a Toyota Hilux a few years ago, so it's still doable.
Isn't the North Pole technically underwater?
It's floating ice, technically.
Yeah,
I don't think none of these continents that we stand on are lily pads floating around. If you lower the water level, it'll keep going down, and everything is connected when you lower the water level as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the continental land masses. Well,
tectonic.
Which, I mean, they could have shifted. Who am I to say that they never shifted? But hey.
So, really quick, who is they? Is they NASA?
Yeah, like the public scientism view. That's when I usually use they, like they live. Put the sunglasses on. Right?
So here's my issue with the flat Earth. Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I saw that I saw that flat earthers. It wasn't a flat Earth channel talking about it, and I know you purposeful.
Yo.
And hey, what's up, man? And I was just thinking, my issue with the flat Earth is the end game. See, when you say they, you're saying a mighty big they. That's hundreds of thousands of people over the past 40, 50 years covering up something. Right? That includes Christian physicists. We're talking about Christian scientists, talking about people who do believe in God, right? Who do believe in Satan, but they don't believe that NASA is a Satanist organization.
Not necessarily.
Right. Okay. Right. So.
Oops. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, no. Well, I guess my issue is for the conspiracy to be true, there has to be a reason for the conspiracy. Now, if it's just money, you can actually stop at money for NASA for them to just play around and fool us. But the issue is, it still doesn't affect like immediate daily life for it to be such a conspiracy. That's my issue with the flat Earth. It's not even that's one of my issues with the flat Earth. I mean, technically to me it doesn't matter, but
you got to think NASA is a part of the DoD, the Department of Defense. It's military. Just because they don't carry guns doesn't mean they have an agenda. All militaries, all governments are compartmentalized. No matter what you are, you could be building a rocket and never see it launch, or watch it blow up and be like, damn, I'm gonna have to watch another or build another rocket. I mean, they could have whole scores of people building these things, have no idea that they're not for what they think they're for. They do this all the time to us.
Okay, so here's the issue though. So it's not just NASA then. So you're saying every single space agency in the world is colluding on the idea that the world is actually flat. Okay, so so you know what that means is, that means that you're not taking into account some other space agencies who've actually tried to make an effort to see if we went to the moon in terms of like NASA's case, and made their own machines to get there.
Well, essentially that would all be just a farce, right? Like that would just be for show.
That's what you're saying. We would say equally, well, they're lying about it. It's not everybody that's working. It's the tops of the tops, the people who lie about everything to us.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if Japan has their own space station, right, or has their own space agency, like there's 30 agencies. like what I'm saying is,
look
when
at
you
the
say tops of the tops, go ahead.
Look at the Antarctic Treaty. That happened, what, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, and they still hold to it? Nobody's allowed to mess with it until 2014? Like, come on.
But
No nation
right, but
has...
hold on.
That
Go
was
ahead.
to
Okay.
stop an outbreak of a third world war.
Exactly. It
So-
wasn't because people
I
can
know
travel
that.
to Antarctica. You can go to the North Pole. No, like there's nobody stopping you.
You
I
can't
don't know
go...
why flat earthers keep telling me.
You can go if you have money and you go where they tell you to go on one of their special trips. But if you try to have an exploration and go by yourself with all the money in the world, you won't be able to do it. They'll stop you in your tracks.
Well,
But-
Ranulph Fiennes walked across the Antarctic last year.
We'll name any other treaty in the past 2 centuries that hasn't been broken.
Treaty of Versailles.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's...
Sorry,
I
that
should
was
say
funny.
touche.
Okay, well, so when you say they're going to stop us, right? Do they have guards? Do they have like special UFOs that are interdimensional that can like notice you, pop in, kill you, then pop back into the dimension to where you couldn't see the warning? Because they're going to stop you, they have to use
Much
like a
like-
mighty. Go ahead.
Much like the dew line in the North Pole, where if you were to sail a ship and you go past that line, they'll just stop you right there. They'll communicate you, be like, look, you're going to have to stop. People have tried this. There was a person not even 4 years ago who tried to go to the Antarctic because one of his friends and his friend's mate they just got lost when they were going fishing or something down there. And he got put to jail. He got put to prison quick for going past the line that you're not supposed to go. What's his name? Jarl something like J-R.
So how come this? Like, here's my thing. Because how come that's not a bigger story? Because he's not put to death, right? Like, he should have how long does he have in prison? So, but guys like that, did he try to prove the Earth is flat? Or was he just a guy who went up
No,
there?
not at all. Not at all.
Well,
But think about
hold on. Let me play middleman here for a bit. I don't disbelieve the things that I know about societies and governments and spy agencies and shadow governments and all this other type of stuff that we have evidence that points towards, that we can, bring up and see that have happened and will continue to happen in the future. It's not unlikely to think that there are people who can think or know certain things that are silenced by either threat of death, threat of their family being harmed, like hanging their kids over them type of thing. Like it is possible to keep people silent on some things, right? I just think that when it comes to flat Earth, I think there are so many people in play that basically like it's just too many people. It's too many people to keep in line constantly.
Right.
Thomas, if I may
do
ask.
these people that are keeping the flat Earth from us, do they never get drunk and like tell their best mates in the bar, I've been keeping the secret of the flat Earth for like 50 years?
Yeah, I
does
have
that never
heard that
happen?
one.
Are they all teetotalers? That's a
I
legitimate
was wondering,
question. I'm not
Thomas.
mocking you. That's a legit
Oh, no.
question. I'm hoping for an answer.
Yeah, there is people that have come out and said, yeah, they told me that. We all laughed at them. But, that's all hearsay. Thomas, what's your worldview? Like, do you believe in a God or not God or whatever?
Yeah, I believe in a God.
All right. I was just curious.
Well, see, and that's the interesting thing, though. I think because the Earth that you're talking about, are you going by the flat Earth of the Bible? Shirtless?
Yeah, precisely.
Okay, so you do know, like, the other flat Earth theories out there give a better end game.
There's a couple of them.
Right, there's a few, right? So I think it's fitting how like flat Earth even has like denominations in their own gig, right? But anyway, that's just you're right. It's actually kind of scary. That's what makes it kind of worse, right? It's like
of Christianity, because I'm a Christian. I believe the Bible thoroughly, but there's 60,000 denominations in America. 60,000. What are they following? Why are they even their own denomination? They have their own traditions. I'm like, what?
Well, yeah, but the reason why they have their own traditions is because the Roman Catholic Church had too much influence on the Bible, all right? And the Nicene Creed Nicaea Council, when they made the books how they felt they wanted to make the books. Or it was a lot of it's a political ploy. Now, to no fault of the religion of itself, it's not really their fault that people used might as right. That's pretty much what Rome did, but just in a political manner. And they won it out, and it sucks because it kind of ruined the entire religion. I feel like Christianity has gone further and further away from the ideals of Christ. They just point to the Book of Romans and all that. They don't even point to Christ. They just talk about all the other stuff in between, like the flat Earth. That's my issue with the flat Earth too. It doesn't make it like Christ doesn't tell you to defend the flat Earth. He could care less.
Right. If Jesus was really concerned about it, he would have reminded people that it's flat. But anyways, or told us it was a globe.
No, he wouldn't, because that's not what he said in the Bible. If he doesn't say it in the Bible, right? Something like in that manner that's so big that you can't really influence. Like, that's my issue with flat Earth. It doesn't matter if it's flat. You still have to live your life. Like, if you're a Christian, you still have to be good to people on the street,
right?
The poor, the drunk, the sick. Like,
if you're a Christian, you're also not supposed to live a lie or believe a lie. So if you know that this is a lie, would you not defend it?
Fair enough.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily, because I don't care if the Earth is flat or round. I don't care if the Earth is
no. His point isn't if you care. His point is exactly what he said. If you know or you believe that it's a lie, then you're supposed to stand up against it.
Right. It's according to our principles.
Here's my question though regarding Christianity, right?
Oh man.
Shirtless, would you agree that there's been a quote unquote war on Christianity for like the past, 20, 30 years or so?
I kind of get a little deeper in that because I think the whole English language that we use today was made in part with the King James Version of Romeo and Juliet to control the masses in their own specific way. Like, hey, let's take out this and that book and this book out the Bible, point towards Romans and change the word to serve the government. Oh, we got the short and girlies.
I'll give you that. That's a good remark. I agree with that. I don't like KJV.
So in short, then yes, right?
Sadly, yeah. Because if you
I agree with you. I don't think Christianity should have been attacked as harshly as it was, especially while the other religions got to skirt by, right?
Yeah.
And
for sure.
I have been making the correlation, and I've mentioned this a few times before, that are you drumming?
Oh, sorry.
You notice how we keep seeing stories pop up of like people from Western nations, usually like white kids or whatever. They want to leave and they want to go join like ISIS. They want to go become Muslim and stuff, right? Like we're all
okay. Fine.
Those types of stories. We're just, but we've seen all these stories, right? I believe that some people, maybe not all people, but some people have like a will to believe that there is something else, right? And that they will believe that there is something else, regardless of what their options are. So
that brings you back to that. You don't want to believe something if it suits your fancy. You want to follow the truth where it leads.
No, I'm talking about people who just have like the will to believe something. Like throughout history, like Christianity hasn't been around forever. Okay? Like, I mean, if you believe vehemently in the Bible, then yes. But if you believe like things that we've dug up that show other religions that predate any Christian text, then no, there's other religions. Even insofar as we can look out and we can find out, we see that there's Muslims, there's Taoists, there's Buddhists, there's Jews, there's fucking X, Y, and Z, right? So there's multiple religions. And the reason there's multiple religions is because there are people out there who just feel this inward desire to believe that there's something greater than themselves. Right?
Yeah. Well, we want to think, and I want to know that I have somewhere to go afterwards. When I had a bad problem with alcohol and was drinking every day heavily for a year or so and quit, I had a really bad experience, like an out-of-body experience. I didn't go somewhere happy. I went somewhere extremely miserable that I would rather not talk about.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of with you on that. Like I've claimed myself as a former alcoholic because I used to drink like all the fucking time and live like a loose fucking wild lifestyle, right? And I consumed so much alcohol to the point where like I could literally get drunk before work and I could function as a normal fucking sober adult, right? And
Ew.
yeah, it only, well, I mean, it is what it is. It got me, I went through promotions and all types of shit. So, I mean, obviously it was fine, right? But it got to the point where like I would have to drink more and stuff. And I would, one morning I woke up and I fucking felt sick to my stomach. I went to the bathroom and I threw up and it was like mostly blood. And it was at that point I was like, I got to stop this shit. So, luckily my willpower is strong enough to where I like, like I was able to manage all that by myself. I know I'm the outlier or whatever. Go on.
And I think everybody's willpower is strong enough. They just have to seek it out.
I also believe that. I do believe that people just don't think that they're as strong as they actually are. But that aside, when I was going through all that, I didn't have like revelations of Jesus or anything. This was more just me. Like I have to do this for me, right?
Precisely. I mean, if you're not doing something for yourself, how can, like, if you don't love yourself, how can you love your neighbor? You know, that type of stuff. People who put themselves down, like this girl I really fancy at work. We get along really well. We hang out, but she has had so much traumatic crap happen to her in the past that she holds on to it. And she's beautiful. She doesn't need to hold on to it.
Yeah, I agree. And for some people, I also agree that for some people, religion is the answer. It helps them to achieve like them loving themselves, because that's all it boils down to. Regardless if religion is the factor or if religion isn't the factor on an individual basis, like if you're not knowledgeable of yourself, if you don't know yourself, if you're not happy with yourself or whatever, you won't be happy, period. You won't be happy. You know, that will rub off on other people. That will affect your day-to-day life. That will affect your like relationships, whatever those relationships may be with everybody else out there. It's just the way it is. That's another thing. Like I relate that also to like the social justice warriors and stuff like that, but that's an entirely different topic. But basically, if you have a lack of self-confidence, then you have a lack of like surety. And some people need to just have religion. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right religion. It's just a religion. Oh, he left. He needed to go get coffee. Well, that's unfortunate. I hope he took his headset with him.
You're in the middle of a rather lovely speech. Please carry on. It's
no time like the middle of everything.
Well, I need a rebuttal. Essentially, there are just people who hold on. Essentially, there are people who need to have that afterlife thought, or they need to have that thought that they were created for a purpose. That you can sit here and you can nitpick that they don't need that or whatever, but you're not them. You don't live in their fucking life. You don't walk in their shoes. You don't know that. Like if that's what they need to be happy,
when they're not wearing one, they don't know about it.
That's why I wanted you to come on. but my point is like you don't fucking know, right? You don't know these people. You can't like sit back and play fucking armchair psychologist to people you don't know. It's not productive in the slightest bit. So when it comes to like flat Earth, like I think the shit is completely fucking off the wall. I think that it's actually doing more harm to Christianity because a lot of the flat earthers like liken it to Christianity specifically. I think it makes Christianity look fucking crazier than it objectively is. Which is
Jesus is behind the ice wall. Teach the controversy.
Yeah, he's one of the Nephilim that can't climb
from the Solomon Islands.
Yeah, apparently when you get on the other side of the ice wall, your legs magically get broken and you just can't climb anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually interesting. Whenever people talk about Christians, talk about Jesus, they never try to look for like any kind of like historical account in the context. It's like if you read I always tell people, if you read the Bible and you're unbiased, say you're an atheist and you read the Bible, if you read the Gospels, Jesus clearly is telling the disciples that I'm coming back in your age. Like he doesn't mean 2018, like, you know, like it's not going to be hashtag Jesus is back. And then like, you know, the phones turn off and he takes over, you know, he comes down in the clouds. He already came back, but most Christians like want to believe in certain things to like make them think that he's going to come back and like save them. instead of doing works.
And that shouldn't be what people focus on because, like you said, the historicity of the Bible is insurmountable. Actual historians, when they look at secular history, they make sure it lines up with the Bible when it's in that portion so they know it's
Right.
valid.
Well, we're fortunate enough to have a budding historian on the show, so ask him.
Well, no. I mean, it's not really about a story. Just if you read the Bible properly, like, don't think about, like, when you're reading the Bible. The first time I read it, I always read it like Jesus is about to speak to me. He's about to say something. You know, one of the words are going to pop out on the page. That's the way I thought I should, like, feel God or feel Christianity. But I actually fell back more into Christ by reading it unbiasedly, by looking, like, what is Jesus actually talking about here? Who is he? Who is, you know, like, I don't look at it as in, like, oh, I'm gonna catch the Holy Ghost by reading the book. You catch the Holy Ghost by doing the works and going out into the physical world and helping people. He doesn't tell you to worship a book. He doesn't tell you to go into a church for an hour and a half each Sunday. You have to go out there and be with those people. Doesn't matter, right?
All of us want to go to heaven, but when you read the Bible, it says to attain the kingdom of heaven, do this and that, and the kingdom of heaven is within you. Like, we're to bring the kingdom of heaven here, but no, they want to fly off and go to some magical galaxy or something.
Let me pose you a question here, and I've asked this question before to lots of different people, and I've gotten some pretty interesting answers, and I've gotten some non-answers. So when it comes to Christianity, right? The devil is like the ultimate, like, trickster, right? He just exists to fool humanity and take them into his clutches.
Makes some good music though.
He makes some great fucking music. So who's to say that the Bible either wasn't? How do you know the Bible wasn't influenced by Satan? How do you know that excerpts from the Bible haven't been edited? How do you know that he hasn't taken control of the people who have translated or written the Bible and changed what actually was? You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. Well, there's only two instances or two examples how I say it could be. I don't know for sure, but I'm trying to work on my decision. So it's either, if you read the Bible contextually, who the devil is in the Bible, technically Jesus warns you about who the devil or how the book is going to change. He actually, like, Jesus talks about, they're going to try to change the book. They're going to try to change the Bible. It's almost like he's warning you. So you can take it that way, or you can just take it in terms of just human people. You know, after Constantinople dies, you know, you're right. Who's to say before they formed the Bible, just some priest said, well, I want this word to be like this. I want this to be like this. And people forget copies of translations of copies are written. So, you know, and people always get mad about that. They get mad and they say, it's not like the 21st century. It's not like TMZ. I'm like, yes, of course it's not, because they actually cared about what they're writing. People keep thinking they had, like, you know, keyboards. They had to spend hours and hours writing. So if somebody wanted to add something in that was more powerful than some other priest or some other whoever, some scribe, they could do it. Now, clearly there was some right? They all kind of kept, you know, a big chunk of the books. But there are a lot of books that are missing from the Bible that everybody knows are missing. I mean, if you go to, you know, like the Book of Enoch isn't in some Bibles. You know, you don't have, I mean, the Gnostic Gospels. A lot of people don't like the Gnostic Gospels, but I mean, the Book of Thomas should have validation since he was an original 12 apostle, and Paul wasn't. But people love Paul. I personally believe that Jesus is actually warning us of Paul. I think that's the whole point of what he talks about when he says, "I will not be in the wilderness." Like, it's the same. It's actually where Paul is supposedly to have seen Jesus. Like, I've always felt the Bible is a contextual book. After it's over, it's over. All the, like, the Antichrist, all that stuff, it happens in the book.
Well, what has
it makes sense to me.
What has done more damage to Christianity besides the translation issues in the Bible? It's a double-edged sword. It's helped so many people, but then so many people are like, "Oh, there's contradictions in the Bible." I'm like, yeah, when you don't try to go to the original translation.
Right. Well, right, and that's why I try to keep to like when I think about the whole God religion thing, I'm almost like, I can see how some people that are like New Age, or like even atheists, you know, that say like, I live a good life in terms of, like, I guess you could say, like, there's atheists out there who follow what Jesus talks about better than Christians, actually, like, in a literal sense. I don't mean prayer. I don't mean, doing, I don't mean like reciting your prayer out loud, because he doesn't care about that. You're supposed to pray in private in the closet. That's what he tells you. You're not supposed to go.
I can't fit in
to,
my closet though. How does that work out?
like it's kind of okay. So like, I think the biggest issue with Christianity is that everybody kept going with how it all stems from the Catholic Church. It's not supposed to be that way, and Jesus makes it clear. Like I don't even go to church. I meet with people at work, and I meet with people at my house. I will never go to a physical church because none of them really follow Christ, and they all accept Paul as an apostle. You cannot be a self-appointed apostle, and that's what Paul is, and billions of people follow it. And it's sad because Jesus warned you about it. And that's what I think. I really think everybody kept thinking about interpretations, but the thing is, Jesus's words are like in there the same every time, just about every time. I don't worry about I don't know. I think Christians worry too much about church and the church gathering and the choir and the Bible study. Like they don't think that like Christ is telling you to go outside and talk to that homeless man and see like what's wrong with his life. Give him food if he needs it. You don't have to really give him shelter. You don't have to give him like $1,000. But he is a person who has not found the way, or a drunkard, or a prostitute. When he means prostitutes, like when he means everybody, he means everybody, even the people that you don't like.
I have found homeless people to be the most in tune with Jesus, so I'm not sure. Maybe he needs to teach me. They're usually not terribly lucid, though, so I'm not sure what to make of that.
Yeah, I used to help.
Oh, right. Right.
They are very good.
No. So homeless people are actually really cool. I don't mind them.
Shirtless. But what do you think about what I proposed about how about the possibility that Lucifer, the great Satan, changed the Bible, and therefore by believing parts of the Bible, you're actually believing the teachings or the implications of Satan's hand?
I was curious about that, and so I kind of did a study on Lucifer. And Lucifer wasn't what Satan was called. Before Satan was called Satan, he was called Samael, and he was like a choir master. He became
regardless of the name, right? We're talking about the basic the thing that God made, that the fallen angel, the whatever you want to call
Iblis.
it. We all know the entity, right?
Right, but think on it. That brings me back to the English translations, because how can there be so many translations of the same text that come to all these different conclusions? If you just go back to stuff from like the Dead Sea Scrolls or the Qumran caves, and then look at what the Geneva Bible or the KJV, it's really, really, really close on point. But then when you compare them to the NIV or the NASB or all these other thousands of versions, they're different. They're a lot different. Do I think Satan can change it? I think he has, and it's in languages that he's helped create.
So then, what if some of the things? Okay, fair enough. So what if then all of the things that point to the theory of flat Earth? What if those are the things that Satan put in the Bible?
Honestly, mainly because if you look at the Navajo, the Incan, the Mayan, the Egyptians, the Norse. I mean, they all say the world was flat, and not on religious beliefs. Some of them stated it just as a way of life.
Norse mythology doesn't state
hold
that
on. Regardless of where the people were in the world or what their culture or religion was, if Christianity is the true religion and God is the true God and Jesus was the Son of God and also God, and there is a Satan, right, the ultimate evil, it wouldn't matter what the religions that we see are, because ultimately Satan and God are the ones behind the curtains, right?
Right, and how do you define that? Because, like I said earlier,
that's why I'm agnostic, because there's no possible way for me as a human being to define any of that.
You're just not woke enough.
People think that
more red pills.
People think that God has this like big hammer and is like, you're going to hell, you're going to hell. When people choose themselves to go to hell because they choose not to follow the Creator. And when it comes to going to heaven, I don't know where in the Bible does this we're going to heaven.
But my point is how do you know that?
Exactly.
I'm sorry. But people will respond because it's in the book. And my response to that, it being in the book, is how do you know the book is factual?
I can go on all day about that, but when it comes to the flat Earth thing, I can take you out and prove it to you. I can prove to you that it's motionless.
Well, Okay, so
You
then
should
let's get back on
collect your
like.
Nobel Prize. Get off here. You got places to be, man.
Okay, so you want to talk about physical experiments that people have done to
Yes.
disprove and prove the flat Earth, right?
Yes, I think we've come to the point where we can't prove or disprove any biblical influence to a flat or spherical Earth. So now let's move on to actual physical fucking evidence.
Right, good, because I've done some.
Oh, have you?
I stood at the end of Southend Pier, which is 1.3 miles out into the Thames estuary, and tried to see Ostend in Belgium with my rather expensive £300 telescope. I could not. I could only see the stars in the sky. Ostend from Southend Pier is maybe 100 miles away, 150 miles away. With 1,000 times zoom lens, I should have been able to see that, but I was not able to. I
Don't
could just
stop
see
with
the stars
one.
in the sky.
Don't stop with one test. Go to another. I mean, you
Well,
can't just base everything on
Yeah,
one.
that one. No, don't stop at the one that proves your point. Keep going until you find one
I mean,
that lines up with it.
I
Man. Come on.
have my telescope at a 90-degree angle, perpendicular to the Earth. I should be able to see Ostend in Belgium. I couldn't. I could see stars in the sky.
But I could therefore
I could
give
see
you
light
20
pollution.
I could give you 20 examples right now of things miles and miles off. I mean, just think about a
Can you see
lighthouse, a
Tierra del
boat.
Fuego
Seeing,
from Australia?
can you wait? So you're telling me like, oh, we can't see this, so therefore this and that, but we can see stars trillions of miles away.
Well, the stars themselves aren't allegedly trillions of miles away under the flat Earth theory, right?
Hold on, guys. Before he answers,
No.
shirtless. Let me answer. Let me give them a disclaimer because you got to remember about flat Earth. There still is a conspiracy about like the Hubble telescope. They don't believe that the Hubble telescope is telling you the truth. They believe that it is just a fictitious machine that NASA built for billions of dollars, and it doesn't really work, right? So when you take that into account, wait, hold on. But hold on. When you take that, because that's what you have to get to. If you're going to make your point, because I know what you're going to say, but you can go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say what you think about how the stars are supposed to look, because we all have seen Hubble telescope pictures. It looks like a bunch of stars.
And you can go to dozens and dozens of amateur footage of looking at stars, compare them to NASA's photos, and see the distinct difference. And what do we say, atmosphere and all that, and blah blah blah. But it's isn't this where we get into semantics, where I could say this about the atmosphere, and then you can say that about the atmosphere?
See, this is the issue I get. Look. When you talk about telescopes,
I'm talking about looking at Belgium across the English Channel. No, the 90-degree perpendicular angle, looking at Belgium, I can't see it. I see stars in the sky. Why is this? If the Earth is flat, should I not be able to see Belgium?
Nah, not necessarily, because it depends on the atmospheric things that you have. And there, I mean, there's air, there's water, there's dust, there's pollution. There's a whole bunch of things that could stop or obstruct your view. Try viewing something else that's a far off.
Then how would I see the stars in the sky? If there is an obstruction between me and Belgium, I shouldn't be able to see anything. It should just be like a thin mist, no?
The same way that you'd be looking down train tracks and it all converges to one point, and then you're looking up at the sun and it's still there, or that you're looking up at the clouds and they're still far, far off because it's much higher. I mean, I honestly believe the stars are around 3,000 miles up, along with the sun and the moon, maybe further.
Well, train tracks. Hold on, train tracks. When looking down at train tracks, they can't converge into one point because train tracks never converge into one point. Otherwise, the train wouldn't be able to run on it.
Only to our perception does it converge, because our eyes, when we focus on things, the further they go, it forms almost a triangle in view.
Right.
I mean, we've
people
all
also see faces in potato chips.
So why would it not be the same if you're looking far, far away?
I'm not saying that it's not.
Right.
Really.
I'm saying that if our eyes perceive us, if you're claiming that our eyes perceive us in one way, then I could easily say that our eyes perceive us in another way to counter what you said.
Yeah, but you can test and demonstrate looking down a hallway and seeing it converge to one point. It's quite easy. But then again,
a giant hallway to do that. But yeah, in theory,
I'm not.
Well, joke's on you because I actually have a long hallway.
I'm not trying to get down or like say that I'm right and you're wrong. You guys have actually been very cordial, and usually when I try to discuss this matter, did too many drugs in life or blah blah blah.
Well,
Well,
I'm
we
the
can-
type of
we
person I
can
just
come to
generally
agreement on
know.
certain things, right?
Yeah. No, I'm the type of
Well, I was
person
gonna
that's going to have the conversation. I honestly, at the end of the day, I don't care what the fucking answer is because tomorrow I have to get up and go to work. I have to fucking pay my bills. You know what I mean? Like, I got shit to do. I'd love to have the discussion. I'd love to enlighten myself on some things. I'd love to hear different people's points of views that make me go and go on.
So
But yeah,
just really
I
want
would-
to see Belgium. I want to know why I can't see Belgium from the end of South Empire across flat water in the middle of the night.
I would recommend to two
because
mics
it's
to
more than
start looking at other things
250
besides
miles
Belgium.
off. You can't see anything beyond 250 miles because it's below the curvature.
Technically, we're not supposed to see anything beyond the horizon after 6 miles because it would be below the curvature unless it's taller. If you just go, let's say,
That's assuming
No,
that the Earth is a uniform sphere,
Yeah,
which it isn't.
that's assuming your guys' math,
No,
NASA's
no.
math, spherical
When you
models,
see- hold on.
25,000 miles.
the naked eye, for the naked eye, the horizon is 3 miles out. But if you look through a good telescope, you can see no more than 250 miles.
So I've sat there and watched a ship go out to view and then pulled up anything telescopic, like my phone, and it came right back, haul up. And then with that telescopic image, it went further out. So after 15 miles, should be well behind the curvature, but it came right back. And then it kept going.
No.
And then it came right back.
250 miles, not 15. 250.
Listen. If you're
If it was
going
15, no, seriously, if it was 15 miles, our planet would be really fucking tiny.
10
Like it's
10
30 miles
miles,
just for me. It's 30 miles just for me to get to work, and that's a long distance from my house.
10 miles,
Still within inside my own state.
10 miles according to the 8-inch per mile square that's in the textbooks, you would be well over 6 feet behind the curvature. I mean, look it up. It's not hard.
Yeah, no. Not with the radius of almost 4,000 miles, which the Earth supposedly is, if you believe.
Listen, now you got to remember the template flat earthers set. Remember, so you got the sun and the moon are what 3,000 miles away. That's what flat earthers believe, right?
Well, he's already said that there's like different flat Earth theories, so we're just going by what he's saying. We're not.
Right.
I don't want to bring in like other people that aren't here to make the claim. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Sorry, shirtless. So how far away is, or how far away do you think the sun is, shirtless?
It varies between 3,000 miles, from like 2,100 or 2,900 to 3,100 miles. It's my opinion.
That's
when
okay,
they-
because
That's
none
okay.
of us are dead.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm not like trying to berate you, but because we have to give a difference than what the other model is. Because in the globe model, it's 93 million miles away. So if like you have to compare the number, you can't just like not say it, because if you don't say it, then you can't put things in perspective. That's maybe why. Obviously, if the math is different for flat earthers, clearly maybe they look at math on every single aspect to measure the flat Earth differently too.
Can I ask you
Right.
something, shirtless?
Yeah.
If the Earth actually was globular and all the science that all the
Spherical.
science that's out there that says it's, you know what? Fuck you. It's. I'm gonna call it globular. I don't give a shit. Don't correct me on someone else's stream, sir.
Late spheroid.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so anyway, whatever. If the fucking if the science is, you know, all the science is there and it's right that the Earth is a obloid spheroid, and you know, does that necessarily disprove God?
No, definitely not. I like the way my dad puts it, because he's not on board with the flat Earth thing. And he's been studying the scriptures since before I was born.
How disappointed in you is he?
I don't want to get into that. It's kind of sad. But I mean, honestly, nothing's too small, nothing's too big for the Creator if he can make something out of nothing. This isn't alchemy. He doesn't need something to structure with. He can do what he wills.
And yeah, I agree with that. No, I mean, come on, we're talking about, you know, even if we're not talking about God and we're just talking about a God, like you have to go into the argument on the assumption that you literally have no idea. Like it's
Right.
It's literally all speculation. You can't. What?
Gentlemen, I have to go. I'm going to start getting ready for work. I have to work all night. I'm pretty sure I subscribed to you two mics, so I'll try to contact you and come on for further discussion, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure, that's fine. You can find me on Minds. Oh, my link should be down below at the end.
Well, he's
Going
already
on mine.
subscribed to you, so he's going to find you on YouTube.
Bruh.
I don't know if I've got PM set up on YouTube or not though.
Oh, to message
Yeah.
you, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Thank
The
you,
best
guys.
bet is on mine. So.
Rayon, thank you for having a civil discussion with me. Have a good one, guys.
No
Thank you.
problem.
Now what do we do? Why didn't you say anything? You just said something.
Because if I was going to say something, it would all come out as autistic screeching.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough.
It would.
I
Well, you'd be
I
speaking
thank
his
you for
language.
restraining yourself, sir.
Uh,
Well, I feel a little bit enlightened after that. I still would like to know why I can't see Ostend across flat water.
Because the Earth is
Yeah.
Because it's more than 255 miles away.
No, it's not. Ostend in a straight line isn't that far from Southend Pier. It's maybe 150, 200. So I should be able to see it.
If I go out on a here's the thing that I think most people don't take into account is that I live in the Northeast, right? I've said that several times. In the Northeast in the United States, it's fucking hilly as shit, right? There's hills and mountains and all types of shit everywhere. Like, I think a lot of people are under the assumption that when people say that the Earth is a fucking sphere, like it's some magically just completely flat fucking sphere, and it's not. That's why we have like ocean levels, and we have other things like you're this high above the seabed or you're this high above the fucking ocean level, like because it's not a perfect fucking sphere all across each other, right?
Correct. Well, no sphere is perfect. So
Yeah, that's true.
man-made or otherwise, if you
spheres
take
can
a
only
billiard
be perfect.
ball and like look at it in a magnifying glass, it's got canyons on there that are deeper than the Grand Canyon if you scale it up. So there's no such thing as a perfect sphere.
Now, quick question, because I was thinking of asking him this, but I suppose he would simply use the Madome argument. But it's like if the Earth is flat, then how do we explain the other planets? Especially since we can tell that they orbit because we can see different faces at different times, and
Exactly.
And
Don't
Don't ask
The shadows.
questions. Nothing's impossible for the creator.
Wait, no. Actually, I can tell you. Okay, so I'll tell you this. I don't believe it, but I like to research into it. And there's a guy I used to live with in Denver. He has a flat Earth channel now, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, well, I've seen this guy before. So I watch his. I know. I watch his videos, but I'm trying to see what they think, or at least his model. He does the Alex Gleason map from like 18 whatever, but he thinks that the thing with the planets is they're out just outside the firmament or like on the dome. They don't think that the way the pictures that we're looking at when NASA gives you pictures, they think that they're all CGI, like touched. That like NASA deliberately is just like making like 90% of it up, and it looks like that, but not like they're making it look.
Because NASA had CG in the 60s.
Right. And they also don't like. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. When it doesn't matter about the math on this term, like they have to start explaining, the moons that go around Jupiter or Saturn. When you ask them to explain that, their response will always be NASA is hiding it. The scientists are hiding it, and they don't understand photography. They don't understand like how the Hubble telescope actually works
through a telescope.
Right.
Like, is the telescope just like playing a video inside the telescope? Like when I look into the telescope, there's just a little TV in there. That's what I'm looking at.
Here's what they think. They think that the layer that you're looking through, you always have that kind of like gloss. The further you get, they think that that's like the water firmament. Like they don't think it's space. They think it's water firmament, right? That's where you're looking through to the telescope.
I can't wait until commercial space travel is a thing and all these big people just have to shut up. Like, come on.
Exactly. That's what we have to wait on. And actually, a lady for NASA.
But commercial space travel will never be a thing because the government will suppress it. That's what you have to remember. It will never be a thing because the government will suppress it. That's what the flat earthers and co say, right? Commercial space
seriously.
But that doesn't. Oh my gosh! It doesn't make sense because the shuttles are already paid for by private contractors.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's
that's all a game. That's all just a farce.
Exactly, because all the corporations are in bed with government anyway.
Right.
Yeah, they all have government contracts, therefore they are extensions of the government in the private sector.
Alchemical Cosmology wants to come in here. Repost that link. Come on in. Like, it's cool, man.
Who is that?
I want to know. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody else in here, but I want to hear these arguments. I've talked to flat earthers before, and I always hear them out. It still doesn't make sense to me. So if you think that you can make it better, if you think you can formulate it better to where it makes sense for me, I mean, I don't care. I've changed my opinion several times before in my life. I don't care to change it again if I think that the alternate opinion is the correct one.
Good evening, gentlemen.
We have Promethean.
Good
Hello.
evening. Is Promethean alchemical cosmology?
Yeah, that's my chat account.
Okay. Two mics. Can you turn him up a bit? He's a little bit quiet.
No, I don't have control panel.
Actually, it should be fine. My Bluetooth headset does that. It should equal out here just in a moment. Should be able to hear me fine.
Oh, yeah, it's getting better.
Okay, yeah, I don't know why it does that. But yeah, I've been listening to the conversation, and I just wanted to touch on a couple things. First off, I want to give you a heads up. I'm not a flat earther, okay? But I've been studying this subject for curiosity reasons, I guess you could call it, for the past 2 years. Seriously, I've gone into it as best as I can to set aside my paradigm that we've all been conscripted to, and to evaluate this from kind of the ground up.
You have stared into the abyss.
I have, and at some points a little longer than I should have. But
And the flat abyss stared back.
it does, I'll tell you. But the reason I wanted to come in is because, you know, when you first hear this topic, there are a lot of cartoonish and superficial things that come to our mind that we want to. It's almost like knee-jerk responses, and I have heard a lot of straw mans from you guys, and when I evaluate this, I try to be as fair as possible. The whole sweeping of generalizations, like they believe this or they believe that, they believe this, I don't think it's helpful to the conversation, because the fact is, this conversation is here. This is not going away. There are 2,000 people over the past 3 hours right now. If you went to the live and searched Flat Earth, there are 2,000 people listening to a variety of different shows, this show included. But Globebusters had 1,400 people listening. You've been exposed to 300 people, etc. So what I'm saying is, if we're going to evaluate this properly on an intellectual level, we have to meet them where they're at.
Of course.
That's the problem with the internet, though, is it gives everyone a platform and validates really stupid things.
Oh, that's a problem? Did you just hear yourself?
I did. It's a problem whenever really dumb things.
Anyways,
validation.
I won't even address that. Anyways, look, the point is,
I don't have time for that.
I don't mean any disrespect. Forgive me. Look, the point is, this it doesn't matter if it's here or not. It is, and I think it needs to be approached properly, because when you look at astronomy and you look at geodesy, there is absolute proof that there is curvature being measured, but a lot of the people don't understand that. I think that what's going on is people are reevaluating their own cosmology from the ground up, and most of them are removing the military-industrial complex from that. And it creates this really hard problem. Ask yourself, how can you prove it's a globe to yourself if you remove all of the military-industrial complex from the process? No NASA, no space agent.
Oh.
If
no NASA, no space agencies.
If it was a globe, I wouldn't even. It wouldn't matter. Like I said before, it would not change my life.
Still going to work tomorrow.
Exactly, I'm still going to work tomorrow.
I understand. Look, that's fine if you're comfortable with that level of apathy, but there's a lot of people who are not. Okay,
and I understand that. That's what I was talking about with people who just feel the need to think that there's a religion out there, right? Like, doesn't matter what it's called, they just need to feel that there's a higher power.
Well, sure, but I want to make it clear, though, this Flat Earth has nothing to do with religion. A lot of people get that very confused. When you get into it really doesn't. No. There is a religious there is a religious arm of it. Absolutely, there is, but it is not the driving force. What people are having a problem with is they're going out, looking over vast distances, usually 30 up to 60 miles, and they're seeing things that they shouldn't be seeing based off of the mathematics that we're given. That's it. That's all it is. And there is a lot of anomalies. There's also a lot of misunderstandings about what refraction is, how it works. What are the elements of refraction? Could you mention
some of those anomalies?
Yeah. Do you have
just one?
Well, if you take a look at Chicago over what is it? The Great Lakes, the more famous one. I think it's Chicago over the Great Lakes. It's something like 42 miles away. It's the Nowicki photo. It's the most common one you see. And you can see pretty much all the way to the bottom. Maybe there's about 50 or 60, 50 to 100 feet of obstruction, right? But so people will look at this and go, oh, well, we could see the entire city. This is 60 miles away or 58 miles away. It shouldn't be. There should be at least 900 feet of being obstructed there. That was the photo that really kicked this off. And you can find that if you just type in Chicago, Nowicki photo. That's one of the anomalies that people look at and go, wait, how is this possible? Now, the answer from the globe believers is, well, that was a special condition. It's a type of refraction. It basically wrapped the image around the ball to the viewer, and it just looks like that, but only when it's, these types of conditions. Actually, the weatherman called it a mirage. You find the original video, he's like, what you're seeing here is a mirage. And it's not. We're able to see it because of its refraction effects. And it's hard to explain. And these are the anomalies that people are seeing. Now, I've seen it myself. I've gone out. I live on the Gulf here in Florida, and I've seen boats 30 miles away on a clear, crisp day. But then on a hot, humid day, it looks like they're going over curvature 5 miles away. So what I'm saying is there's a bunch of people who are approaching this on a more scientific level. They're going back to basics, and they're trying to determine this on their own. And that's, in my opinion, the root of it. So I don't think this is a bad thing overall, because you got a bunch of people going out and testing the world around them, trying to understand their world better rather than taking something on high. That's why I can get behind the idea, because I've learned a ton in the past 2 years. I've gone back and studied Ptolemy and geocentricity and Tycho Brahe's system, and I've gone through a ridiculous amount of information to come to where I am now. And so this is the reason why I'll speak on its behalf, because I think it's a valuable thing to go through and learn. Do you guys have any questions specifically, things that don't click right with you at first?
Well, no,
I think that's a very fair assessment, but I'm like, when I hear things like the boat, for example, right? Like, you don't see the boat dip of, like, what boat are we talking about? Is it always like this solid state boat that people were looking at? Because there's different sizes of boats, right?
Well, sure, but
like, it's going to take longer for a bigger boat. It's going to take a longer distance for it to completely be covered by the horizon, right? Because it's taller.
Well, sure. The obstruction usually, they claim, if you go look at like Wikipedia and whatnot, is 3 to 5 miles out. You'll start to see obstruction from the hull up. And they claim that this is the curvature of the Earth. Now, for my investigation, I actually don't think that's true. I'm not saying there's no curvature. I think it's atmospheric conditions. Because I told you, on a cold, crisp day, I can see much further. But this is one of the main proofs that you hear from a globe earther. Like, well, boat's over the curvature, dude. You can go out and see it. And you can see video what clearly looks like boats behind curvature. But there's a lot of factors being played in there. It's refraction. It's the type of weather conditions that day, height of the observer, how choppy the waves are. Because, well, it gets pretty deep and complex. But that's the biggest issue for the flat earthers, is they're seeing things further than they thought, than really we probably should.
Well, I think the issue is they're misinterpreting what they're seeing, and there's like explanations for it. My biggest problem is, okay, so what's the end game? So they're questioning the shape of the Earth for whatever reason. Fine, whatever. What would be NASA's? Because we have pictures of the Earth. What would be their motivation for lying about it? Like, what's the end game?
Well, I mean, that's pretty far down the rabbit hole, if you ask me. There's
it's really simple. Why? Like, what? I have to sell more.
Want to know? Well, first of all, knowledge is power. Okay. Let's just suppose in 58, when they had the technology to go up high enough, let's say, just pretend for a moment.
Okay.
The U.S. military goes up there, and let's say they find out that it's not what we've been trying to say it was for 500 years. Okay. Let's say they found that space is not a vacuum. That space is, let's say, liquid hydrogen, for all we fucking know. Let's say they go up there and they find it being very different, or not a globe. Let's say it's a half a globe, a semi-globe, whatever. Do you think they would come back down to Earth, the military-industrial complex, the U.S. military, and say, hey guys, we've been wrong for the past 500 years? Or do you think for national security reasons, they would say, hey, you know what, we need to protect this information. Knowledge is power.
Right. That's
Let's go ahead and
national
just keep
security,
pushing it.
though.
I
That's what
can't
I'm
equate
confused about.
national security to the shape of the Earth.
Yeah, 'cause
Paradigm
I mean-
shift. You got to think of the paradigm shift that would occur. Let's say it was flat. Let's say they did go up there and they've been projecting this globe since Copernicus, essentially, for 500 years. They come and they find out it's really flat. And it's some kind of fucking realm or something.
People for thousands of years had thought that the Earth was flat, and they actually killed people who came along and said that it was round. So honestly, society worked fine then, and it just as it works fine now. I don't think that if a rocket ship went up, no, that's the way it was. It's
Who
not
was
myths and
killed because
stories.
they said it was round? Seriously, dude.
Yeah, nobody was ever killed because they said it was round. They were killed because they said the Earth revolved around the sun, not because they said the Earth was round.
Well, same difference.
killed.
People went against the common narrative, is my point. There's been different common narratives throughout time.
But the funny thing is, the heliocentric model, which gives birth to the terrestrial motion of the Earth, the whole moving Earth, this all comes from Copernicus. And Copernicus was doing this at the behest of the Pope at the time. And he did this because he was working on a calendar, came up with this new system, because they used Ptolemies for a good 1,000 years. It was Copernicus that put the Earth in motion. No other astronomer or philosopher had ever insisted such a thing. So this was a huge monumental thing. This is why Copernicus is lauded so well. So let's say they go up back in 58, and let's say it is a globe, but it doesn't move. Let's say it's the sky moving and not the ground. Don't you think that they would, in order to secure their position in authority, scientific authority of institutions, and authority of government,
position of authority?
No, it does, because a paradigm shift would occur. A paradigm shift would occur.
The reason
they come
the reason
back
that the
and they
military-industrial
say,
complex has authority is because they're the fucking military-industrial complex.
yes, but knowledge is power. They could use that over leverage of their enemies. They could use it. No, I'm.
Wait, hold on.
Hey, hold on. I want to make it very clear. I already told you, I'm not a flat earther. I've just been studying this. Okay,
Right.
This is
Right.
For the most
No,
part
I'm
what
not.
they think.
I understand that. I'm not. I don't think that you're a flat earther. I'm just saying that.
That's exactly what
I
a flat
don't-
earther would do.
I'm just saying
No,
that
I just find it an
I don't
interesting
think that if we were in the situation where they shot a rocket up 50 years ago and it bounced off the fucking dome and they were like, oh, we need to cover this up. Because of a paradigm shift. Why? What does it change?
No.
Dude,
Wait, hold on.
look, no, hold on. We literally just went through an election where the DNC was hacked or leaked or whatever the fuck you call it, but the truth came out about the interdealings of our government. Nobody fucking batted an eyelash. They were outraged for about a couple months, and now nobody gives a shit. That's why I don't think these massive conspiratorial, like, oh, if they let people know aliens exist, everybody will just fucking riot in the streets. No, dude, they're not. They're not. They're gonna be pissed off for a little while, and then they'll be like, okay, well, fucking aliens exist.
Okay,
That's how
but you
people
gotta understand,
are.
they're perpetuating a particular paradigm with this Big Bang cosmology, a heliocentric universe. They're pushing forward this idea of this materialist, naturalist paradigm within the scientific institutions as
And
well.
how does that give
This
them
is
control?
a broad topic.
But how does that give them control?
Because if it's not correct, then they have leverage over everyone who thinks it is. It's a perfect way to control people, if you really think about it.
But
If
if
you
they
control a
discover-
person's paradigm, you control their behavior.
Yeah, but they would just be changing it. They'd be like, all right, now this is true now, and we also discovered this.
Well,
and it would
then,
just be, it would
yeah.
just be new information. Like,
No, you're
plus,
correct, but
not to mention, it's not like we're the only ones that are doing this. Other countries are going up that don't like us.
or so you
Well,
think.
that's a show.
publicly.
That's a show.
Yeah,
their
that's all
argument.
show. Well, it is. It
But-
is.
right,
I mean,
no,
come
no,
on. If
it's-
history tells us
see-
anything,
I wouldn't
That's
say.
that's thousands of
I wouldn't
people.
say- I wouldn't
I
say
mean,
that
the
it is.
pilot,
But we can't prove that it's not, right? We can't prove that it's not. So I'm not even going to try to even speculate on the semantics of that
Well, here's-
particular issue. What I am going to bring up is, in the past, we have had societies, by and large, that were controlled by religion, right? That were controlled that the earth is flat and God created it and God created everything around us and we are the center of the universe, right? They still had a system of control. So for now, the narrative to be completely opposite and they don't want to go back to that because of control reasons, like, it doesn't make any sense.
well, that's
The paradigm
fine. That's
shift
fine.
of
I
spherical
understand.
versus flat does not in my mind, it doesn't equate to control in any way whatsoever. Control
Well,
isn't
that's fair. That's fair.
Flat
Look, I'm
Earth
not
are
saying
spherical.
that's the case. I'm just saying that's the stronger argument I've heard.
Right, but that's still a bad argument.
Situation. That's fine, and you have every right to think that. Like I'm just telling you what I've heard from some of the more intelligent flat earthers, I guess you could say.
Man,
but
if that's
you
the
gotta
height of
understand,
their
this
spectrum,
is
I'm not too worried about them.
But you gotta understand,
keeping
this is a
staying around.
pursuit. Like I said, for the most part, the smarter people who are involved in this is a pursuit to find the truth of this matter through their own means, through their own primary
And
knowledge.
that
Have you
I
ever
am okay
heard?
with.
Have you
I'm
ever
okay with
heard of
that.
the word zetetic?
Wait,
Zetetic
one
is
more
zetetic. Have you ever heard that word before?
time?
Yeah,
man, I don't
that's the
recall it.
organization of flat earthers that was.
Well,
what
it's
was
a
it,
philosophy.
something like that.
It's
Yeah,
a
that-
philosophical position that you need to approach reality from your primary senses first. Okay, so if you let's think about it like this: everybody's talking right now. We're all standing here. We don't sense any motion. We see the sun, moon, and stars move overhead, and we only experience this flat, motionless Earth. Now, that's what our primary knowledge tells us. I'm not saying that's what it is, but I'm saying
I don't sense
going
any
to
motion
this.
when I'm driving in a car, though.
Well, that's fine. I understand the arguments for it. I'm not saying this proves anything. What I'm saying is at least recognize this is where they're coming from. That's the only reason I came in today, is to kind of convey this to you. They're
Right.
going back to their primary knowledge. They're taking on this zetetic philosophy, and they're trying to find out from that point going forward. That's
Right. Okay,
all it
really
is.
quick. Can I ask you a question then?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I guess my question is, how come it's almost like the flat earthers need to have their own like reformation, because there's
Yeah.
it reminds me of because no, seriously,
You're
because
right.
there's so many denominations. Some people think I mean, you got to think about down to the brass tactics, right? There's flat earthers that just care if the earth is flat. They don't think that NASA is that bad, but they think they're bad. Then you have guys who analyze ISS inside the ISS photos and say that they're using harnesses and 3D. So when you
Green
make those
screens,
claims,
yeah, all that stuff.
yeah, that's not a joke, because and then for their argument's sake, they say they're spending our tax dollars. So
But that's
if
what,
they're gonna right, wait, hold on, let me finish. If they're
Sorry, brother.
spending our tax dollars, right, on harnesses and 3D stuff, the knowledge that they have in this particular flat earthers worldview, not all flat earthers, but their worldview is that there is something so big that they have to use harnesses to fake it. What that means is it's a sideshow. So in their mind, it's a sideshow. So if NASA's
yeah,
a
it is.
sideshow,
No, I agree with that.
right?
I agree with that fully.
But I mean, I don't necessarily think it is. But I think sometimes NASA could have done things, or could be doing things on the
okay,
moon
well, let
that
me
they
ask you
should have
this.
kept doing. But I don't think NASA's a sham. Yeah.
From your perspective, you ever heard of the concept of the secret space program?
Yes.
Right? Like this whole idea that they're showing us this kind of sci-fi, rockets to the moon type thing, but behind the scenes, they've got crazy anti-gravitic, like jump room technology, crazy shit like that. You could dig into that side of YouTube, and there's some compelling information of whistleblowers who've come forward. All the UFOs that are claimed to be seen. Well, that's all these guys are saying is like, look, they're putting on this sci-fi sideshow, right? Selling us this rocket to the moon, this old 100-year idea.
Wait, hold on.
They're really doing crazy shit behind the scenes.
Right, but here's my issue. There's a difference. There is a difference between the United States government or the DoD or the NSA or some private organization that is tied to the government or the industrial military complex. I'm not saying that they can't get together and make ships to protect the United States or protect the Earth. That's fine. But when you talk about, you're telling me, here's what the flat earthers don't understand. If the astronaut, right, who went to Harvard and got a theoretical master's in physics has been doing all that just to cover up the flat Earth, like, do you know what that implies?
They don't go that way. No.
Well,
I agree with that. But that's not what they're saying ultimately. Okay, listen. The way academia is set up now is it's highly specialized and it's highly compartmentalized, especially the military-industrial complex. If you're a scientist, I have a really good friend who has a postdoc right up in Cornell right now, working in New York for virology. He doesn't know shit about any other field. Nothing. He only knows about the herpes simplex virus. He's been working on it for 8 fucking years, right? So this is the way that things have been set up. So it's not like a bunch of guys would be in on the conspiracy if that were to be the case. Most of these people who are in one field have no idea what these other fields are doing. They don't know much about cosmology, etc. So I understand your argument there, and I'm not saying that's the case. I'm
not saying that. No, okay, no, hold on.
Right.
Look, you got to think about what I just said. I said some flat earthers believe that they're using harnesses instead of showing us gravity on the ISS feed. That implies collusion. Okay, that's not like kind of sort of they don't know. If I'm a doctor and I don't know anything about space, but I was hired to do, or a botanist, right? I'm a botanist, and they say they want to send you up to the ISS. Right, I'm a botanist though, so they'll train you physically. You have to do the G's test. You have to do these tests underwater. That is publicly shown, right?
Well, they would say that all of that is just made up.
That's what I'm saying. That's what they think. Every single like that. So
no. Think about it like this. Do you know what the word exoteric means versus esoteric?
It doesn't mean it doesn't. It's not like that.
I'm not saying this is what it is, but I'm trying to give you an idea of the way they think about it. They're selling the way they think is that they're selling you this sci-fi sideshow exoterically, covering up this entire black budget craziness that we have no fucking idea what might be going on behind the scenes. That's what they think for the most part. It's not the big grand conspiracy to hide the shape of the world. They go a little bit further with it into this whole secret space program idea of, God knows what else they may have figured out. I mean, the stuff that, honestly.
Okay, well.
Yeah, but look, like I said in the beginning, take the military industrial complex off the table and tell me how you can prove it's a globe from the ground up without using those agencies. It's a very difficult process. It's surprisingly difficult.
Well, that part's fine. When it comes to geodesy and like guys just trying to do the shape, but I'm saying when you're accusing, right, some of the most prized people, right? You got to remember.
Wait, you trust government?
No, I'm not saying I trust government. I'm
saying they're military.
Hold on, that's kind of a loaded question.
But no, okay. I just feel like
if you ask let me explain. If someone asks, "Do you trust government?" It's just they're expecting a yes or no. So if you say no, then you just don't trust anything. If you say
it was loaded,
automatically trust it, then you automatically trust everything. I don't trust some things, and I do trust.
But you do trust NASA,
right? All right.
Do you think that's a fair place to put your trust?
Here's what I trust from NASA, because I've actually. I like space. Like I like astrophysics. That's the type of stuff that intrigues me in the scientific sphere, right? Like I like that. It's very interesting to me. So to say the least, I've spent a lot of time on like NASA's actual website. And if you pay attention, right, and you look at these certain pictures that people say are doctored and photoshopped and blah, 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 whatever, if you pay attention to like the notes of the photos, they will specifically say, this picture was taken as an X-ray. This picture was taken in this form of light. This picture was taken this. This picture is an artist's representation, right?
Yes, and there's a
they
lot.
They always disclose that stuff.
There's a lot. Yeah, absolutely.
Globers.
But people don't mention that, right? They just say, "Oh, it's all faked." Yes, some of it is faked, but they admit that the stuff that's fake is fake.
Sure. I don't. But you gotta understand, you're making a sweeping generalization there. Look, there are people who just say, "Oh, it's all fake." What they're pointing out, though, is what you just pointed out. That, like, okay, let's take.
They don't have a solid like. They don't all believe the same argument.
Well, let's take Hubble for a second, okay? Now, for years, because I was into it the way you are too, I thought those were fucking pictures. I was like, wow, that telescope is picking up these beautiful things out in deep space. This is amazing. And I was on Reddit like 3 years ago, and somebody posted like the full catalog, and I was like, are these images? Just asking. And everybody was like, wow, the images are great. These pictures are great. Come to find out, digging into it, it's like 12 bands of different, X-ray, just like you said.
Yeah,
they do all these different bands. Then they put it together, and then they add color, they add flair, and they tell you all of this. But the problem is, it's a footnote on a footnote. It took me damn near an hour to find out what they really did in order to make those. The problem the flat earthers have is that they're putting it out there as if they are images. It doesn't matter if they're telling you. The majority of the population thinks it's real.
Right, and I agree with that. But just because just because I believe that, and like the guy who was here before said, like I don't like the narrative. I don't know if you were here when we talked about this. I don't like the narrative of that they push that we're an insignificant speck. You know what I mean? Like I don't
That's
like
the biggest thing they do.
Yeah, I don't like being called insignificant because that's essentially what it is, right? It's telling when you watch
see that there's an agenda to tell you that, don't you? You see
how
that,
many-
right?
How many of you guys actually believe you're
I
on a
don't
flat
think
Earth?
that it's necessarily an agenda. I think it's just that that's what some of these people personally believe.
Well,
I don't think it's a conspiracy. It is an agenda to them. It's a personal
Ireland, hold
agenda
on.
to them. But Hillary Clinton had an agenda just as Donald Trump had an agenda, right? I have an agenda. You have an agenda. Everybody has
the Big Bang
an
cosmology, the Big Bang cosmology will lead you to an intellectual, philosophical-minded individual. The Big Bang cosmology will lead you to an atheistic worldview if you follow it through its logical means.
Well, that's ironic
It's
because
a
I've actually looked
naturalist.
into the Big Bang, and that's why I'm agnostic, because I don't think the Big Bang
Agnostic
leads
is
into
close enough for them. But you also just said that you don't
How
like
is it
this
close enough for them?
insignificant concept. I said if you follow it to its logical ends, it is the materialist, the naturalist creation story.
No, if I follow everything to its logical end, at the end of the day, I am significant because I am here. I am living my life. My life is significant.
Sure. Okay,
that's the logical conclusion, right? The logical.
I understand that.
Nobody looks at anybody that looks at this stuff and takes the completely nihilistic viewpoint that everything is insignificant and nothing has any meaning. That's not.
You
that's
haven't
illogical.
been paying
That's
attention.
completely
You don't
illogical.
think you haven't been paying attention if you don't think that's a very common thread.
People who have that viewpoint will fight for that model tooth and nail.
Yes, but people who have differing view, that's where like, and I'm well aware of this because what like on my channel, what I do is like anti-extremist, anti-ideological thing. Like I'm a centrist. I look at the viewpoint, I look at both arguments, and I come to a conclusion somewhere in the middle. It might lean one way towards the other, but generally
and I commend
speaking,
you for that. But think
for the
about
most
this.
part,
Okay, think about this. Think about the common normal person. Like let's say your uncle or some, whatever. It's just someone in your family. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You go up to them and you ask them, what do they think about the Big Bang? What do they think about evolution? What do they think about this what we see as a materialist creation story? Because it's essentially what it is. They're going to say, oh, well, I don't know much about it, but it makes more sense. Maybe God did it. That's a common thing. So they don't go full-blown atheist or nihilist with it, but it will push them towards an agnostic position, if not atheist. It did to me. I was an atheist, a hardcore militant one, for a good 6 years when I went through college and through my 20s. And so now I'm 36 and things are different. I view it as the materialist naturalist answer for how we got here is Big Bang, is billions of years, is the heliocentric model, is evolution, and this is how we get to where we are now. We've obviously evolved from apes, etc. It's a package deal.
Are you equating being atheist to being like an immoral, terrible person?
No,
like to be an atheist means that you have to be like against all of the things like the morals and whatever that the Bible teaches people.
I think what he's saying is just like people who are serious Bible literal believers say it's a dome on a flat plane. That's it in this story. Like they fight for it because their beliefs need that to be the model that happens. Atheists need heliocentrism. Big Bang
that's
a
good way of putting it in Ireland. Yeah, and that's the thing, the Big Bang cosmology, and this offends people, but I don't care. It is a creation story. There might be a mathematical model used to explain this, but it's still a creation story. You tell that to an ardent materialist, they're going to cuss you out. They're going to get mad.
That's just because of the connotation of creation.
No, it's because the common person. No, I've had lots of debates with atheists. You can't, and I'll always, as soon as someone says they're an atheist or whatever, and I'm agnostic. Like I've said that 100 times, right? I don't believe either or because I don't have fucking proof, and because primarily I don't believe that we can possibly have proof because we're just fucking human beings, right?
I agree.
You know what? I disagree. We can prove it, and I know how. It's really fucking simple, honestly. Take a boat. You know how many knots per mile that it goes. Go to the equator. Run it from shore to shore. Do it again further south. You don't have to go to Antarctica. See if what your distance you're traveling actually matches a globe or a flat Earth model. It's really not that hard.
No, we're talking about like I thought we were talking about like.
Yeah, we're talking about atheism, agnostic,
God
Big
aspect?
Bang cosmology.
I was like, I don't. You said boat, and I was like, well, I'm lost.
Of course are. Well, on the Big Bang,
Yeah.
Well, look,
Stephen Hawking
It's
supposedly did the math, right? The theoretical math, and was like,
Yeah,
Well, he
he's
talks like a
"Oh, I can-"
robot, so he can't be wrong.
Right, but he was. Well, no. To be fair, the guy is a fucking genius. Like, I've got all his books, right? They're really good books. But the one thing I disagree with him on is that he says that he can theoretically prove that from nothing something will exist. So therefore,
yeah, same
we
with
don't need
Lawrence
a God.
Krauss.
Right.
Yeah,
but
it's
I don't believe.
ridiculous.
I don't believe that. Like it doesn't make
That's a
sense.
belief. That's a belief. It's a belief that they're exhibiting. But you see, they have to go that far. Like I said, if you go it through its logical, rational means, follow the Big Bang cosmology out, you're going to kind of come to this atheistic conclusion. And I think that's what it's there for. And I know that's a kind of a conspiratorial mindset, but I actually think there is an agenda behind it. And
Well, that's
a whole
because the
other
only
topic.
alternative to atheism is like the flying spaghetti monster.
I disagree.
Cthulhu.
No, I think that there's
No. I'm not. I don't mean logically. I mean when you talk to most, like you brought up most of the average person, right? Like
Yeah.
it's either they see like it's either the atheist argument that there's like nothing, or it's like the Christian or Muslim or like Judeo fucking argument as there's a man in the sky, right?
Yeah,
Most people
there
don't have
are
the ability
places
to
in the
like
middle.
conceive God as like a set of
another
laws
argument.
or like anything like that. You know what I mean? That doesn't
There's
even
a
come
whole
into
third.
question.
There's a third part of that table getting held up, and there's another leg to that. You could go with the Greek version of nous and say it's a gradient between
Gnosis. Yeah.
everything and nothing.
Yeah.
And you
Right,
don't.
but
and
that's
it
my
always
point. There's
existed.
other
It
options
doesn't
out
have
there.
to
But
have a
normies
creation.
aren't landing at that philosophical conclusion. You're right. It's either one or the other. It's very polarizing. It's either the Big Bang, and an atheistic position, or some type of Abrahamic religion, or inner spirituality. But that's what I'm saying. I think there is an agenda to push towards this atheistic worldview because it's easier to control people who think they're worthless. And like I said, I know it's conspiratorial, but I actually I see evidence of this in our cultural programming. If you look, especially in the past 20 years, as to what pop science has become, what are the themes and subtext that is going on within movies and television programs.
But what about all the religions? What about all the religions of yonder that had control of vast swaths of land and vast swaths of people?
And they
Like,
still do. The Vatican owns 60% of the fucking
right, but that's my
world.
point. Like, you don't have it's not just like the atheists are easier to control. Like,
No, you guys
honestly, the people who believe are more easily controllable. Because you can just say,
I would agree with that.
God told you to follow. God told me that I've been chosen by God to be your king. If you believe in God, you have to follow me. Otherwise, God will smite you down.
Yes, I agree with that. It is the old way. Just
Send
quickly,
you to hell with all the gays.
Ireland, hold on. That is absolutely the old way. And the old way has worked very well up until the past 100 years. And I think that what we see is a new way of control. That's all my point is. We can argue the finer aspects of it, but go ahead, Ireland.
Look, I'm looking at it from this point of view. First, I don't believe we're on a flat plane, and I don't believe we're on a globe. I'm just going to state it right off the bat. I look at it as controlled opposition. We got the old way, the flat, the Christianity, the religion, we control through this means, or we can control through this means. It's just like voting Republican or Democrat. They both work together. They're completely out.
Hegelian dialect.
They honestly don't care. Either one of them works. Choose a side. As long as you choose one of those sides, which is a false choice, guess what? You're under control. That's it. Pick your poison.
I understand that.
Can I hold on? I want to answer something in the chat real quick. This guy said, if you are just a cosmological accident, you have no purpose. Right? Question mark. No. That's no.
Philosophically, if you follow it to its logical ends, then you can't deny that is a factor.
No, because philosophically, at the end of the day, you could say that your parents had you, right? So at the very least, your purpose is to be their child.
You're created by them too. Yeah,
that's still a purpose.
Yeah, your purpose was that your parents had a really good time.
Yeah, I don't believe in nihilism. I think nihilism is fucking the stupidest thing ever.
You guys are still in that false choice of it means nothing, right? Because it was for this or that. You could still go into what I've been arguing here.
It doesn't matter if it doesn't. Like, the choice doesn't matter. slaves in the new world were still slaves. They still had a purpose. They might not have liked their purpose,
Right.
but they still had a purpose.
You don't have a purpose,
slavery's
right?
alive and well, brother. I'll tell you that much.
I would also kind of agree to that too, but not in the terms that I'm.
true.
We won't get into it.
It's true.
but listen. Back to the. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Well, just really quick. So, I mean, okay. At the end of the day, so we go back to the flat Earth part of it. If you think about it, and it goes back what Sets was saying. I think that all the flat earthers, they are divided on what they think the purpose of the cover up is. Some people don't think it's NASA, or some people think it's NASA, but they don't like go too deep into it. Some people just want to know if the Earth is round by doing physical experiments, right? So there's different types of flat earthers. My issue is, and I think what Sets asked in the beginning is this the end game just to know in your mind that it's flat, or is it to go out and tell, or okay, that's cool. Or is it to spread the truth per se?
Well,
Because
let's
some
say
people-
it is. I mean, let's say it is flat, or for Ireland's sake, let's say it's fucking concave, right?
Right.
Wait, hold on. Sorry. I'm just whatever you are. Okay. Well, let's say it's not a globe. Okay. Let's just use that. Don't you think that if you don't you think that if you tested it and you realized yourself, like you gained that knowledge that it wasn't a globe, don't you think you would want to tell people the truth?
See, and then that's where you have the meat of the discussion, because then you have to get into other people's personal life and impose what you believe to be true. It's just
This is the thing.
Here's where I have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with people finding like facts and then bringing them to me. I've literally never had a problem with that, right? Like I've lived my life by listening to other people because I don't know anything, or not anything, but I don't know everything, and I never will know everything, right? So you have to learn from other people. That's the fundamentals of knowledge. You don't just fucking be born and you're like, goddamn, I'm a genius, right? You have to learn.
Right.
So I'm always open to listening to people because I'll learn something from them.
Then what's the problem?
The problem is when they start getting off into these wild fucking tangents or bringing up other things that they have to make up or fit into their argument, right?
And no, I'll agree with that. And that's why I said earlier, if you take all of that off the table, when you go from a natural science perspective.
They don't take all that off the table.
You're right. Look, I'm going to be straight up honest.
Right,
there are a lot of fucking idiots. There are a lot of retards. There are a lot of people who misunderstand a ton of stuff. There's a lot of people who don't have the mental capacity to even understand how geodesy goes out and measures this stuff, okay? That aside, there are still good people, and there are still very intelligent people who have gone down this path. I think the bigger issue is not so much about the lay of the land. I think it has more to do with your cosmology. In my opinion, as we just discussed, your cosmology will dictate your philosophy. And if a group can get a hold of that and give you a false cosmology, they can lead you to a false belief system, a false paradigm. I think that's the most important factor. Let's say it's geocentric rather than heliocentric. Now, that doesn't change anything except for the position of the Earth. But there is a certain philosophical connotation that comes with that I think would be more positive for humans if that were to be true. What if they're hiding that?
Wait, do you think that there's a, I don't know if you know who like Terrence McKenna is or like Alan Watts, but sometimes you ever had that like that kind of thing in your mind, and I can see if I'm gonna side with the flat earther here. I would think that if you find out something and there's like a wave of emotion, like you actually kind of like you feel like some sort of vibe take you over after like learning something. You know, say you're say you know your best friend's wife was cheating on him for like there's like a that just a vibe that you get. Maybe some people feel that way, and I think the ones who try to impose flat earth upon like they kind of preach it almost. I think the reason why they do that is because they feel like that's kind of like what they.
And you're right. You're actually
it's like a purpose.
100% right here. You're 100% right here.
That.
Like a very smart man told me recently that flat Earth is the most psychedelic, non-psychedelic idea that he's ever encountered because of how it uproots your paradigm. If you go down the path to allow it to be true, possibly, where you say, you know what, I'm going to set my paradigm aside, I'm going to evaluate this. You are absolutely 110% right. You get a high from it. New information that comes in, you just start feeling more spiritual or enlightened. And I went down that process. When I asked, wait a second, is the sun moving or is it I'm moving? How do I know this? How can I prove this to myself? And when you ask that question and you start to see things differently, you do get this like internal, emotional, or spiritual high. And I think
How can
that's
the
what's
world be
happening.
real if
But
the eyes aren't real?
why is that an either
What's
or
that?
question? It could be
Well,
both. The sun and you.
Ireland, you're missing my point.
Scientologists also have claimed to feel the same types of things when they go through the
Well,
teachings
sure.
of Scientology.
Absolutely.
And so have
Absolutely.
Christians, and so
Right,
have
that's right.
Muslims, and so have
Let us
Jews,
pray
and so
that
have
the sun
insert
Yeah,
any
but hold on
other.
a second. Hold on a second. I asked a natural science question. I didn't ask a spiritual question. How do you know it's the sun that's not moving? How do you know it's the earth moving and not
Well,
the
how do you
sun?
know people don't find spirit? How do you know that you're not finding spirituality in science?
Well, no, you're absolutely. This is a very good question.
did.
But let's think about it seriously. How do you know it's you moving or is it the sun moving? How can you verify that? How can you find that correct answer? That's what's so powerful about this. This is a paradigm uprooting idea. It is a Trojan horse meme.
Right, but that's
Wait,
the
wait,
same,
well, hold on.
right, and
But
it's the same
people-
basis of religion. Like, right? How do you know?
But no. But then you go back down
I
to the
can
math.
answer that question.
Go ahead.
All right.
No, because if it was the sun moving around the Earth, the level of the travel, what do you call it? The travel route of the sun and all the planets and all the other things would be concentric circles within concentric circles to a point where there's absolutely no force or no nothing that you can demonstrate or otherwise to make it work. Whereas if it's the
You're
way
right.
we think it is now, all you need is gravity.
Well, that's the thing.
That's
Ptolemy's
why-
system for 1,000 years was used, and it was essentially exactly that. It was epicycles and these concentric circles that worked for predicting eclipses. It worked for 1,000 years to do all of this great astronomical calendar work, etc., etc. It was Copernicus who came along and said, "Wait a second, I don't like epicycles. I don't like how we have to assume this particular aspect. Let me simplify it." And he came
Okay,
up with
but
the
right there,
ellipses.
right there
But
is where we
gravity
lost.
was required for that.
Yeah, but even with gravity,
Yeah,
it went off
but-
track right there.
Yeah, but there was nothing to replace gravity. There was nothing to replace gravity.
Well, not with that
circles.
attitude. Not with that
How
attitude.
What's the speaking of
Gravity
gravity?
is
What's
like
the
the
argument that keeps us stuck to the Earth? If in,
Boy,
in the
that's the
flat
thing.
Earth theory,
Buoyancy and density. That's what
Yeah.
keeps us
Okay,
to
look,
the
on the
Earth.
flat Earth concept, one thing that most people don't realize when you hear the buoyancy and density argument, they're not including that there is an up and down in nature. Okay, so if the Earth is flat, that means there's not people underneath you in China walking upside down relative to you. It means that we're all on this level plane and that there is an up in nature and there is a down in nature. Now, because of that, we are in a medium of air, our atmosphere. It is a medium. It has fluid-like behavior. So my phone is heavier than the air around me. When I drop it on my table here, it's going to fall down because there's a down in nature. In flat Earth world, that's the way they answer that. Gravity's not needed. And if you look at gravity,
No, hold on. No, I'm just gonna let you guys know. Okay, the way that in a kind of troll sense, I'm not saying I'm trolling, but like how they would think is, like they think gravity is like a made up thing, like some people think God
They
is made
do.
up. They think
no,
yeah,
they do.
like-
And
Right.
there's actually,
like what?
No,
dude,
Yes,
listen.
Not all of them think it's made up.
Well, no, hold on.
right, but that goes
There
back to
is
our argument of
flat
like
Earth community,
it's hard. It's hard to talk about flat Earth when they don't have like, pardon the pun, they don't have like a flat fucking like just objective set of facts to tell you. There's all
here's the
types
thing.
of like
Everybody's
disagreements
talking
inside the community.
in this.
It's very
in
confusing.
Listen, in this
Well,
conversation.
same with the globe. Honestly, same
in
with
this-
the globe.
Hold
You
on.
just
In this
talked about
conversation,
geocentric. No, dude, let me talk a little bit here. You have a geocentric model. You have a heliocentric model. We got Big Bang Theory cosmology. We got inflationary period. We have different hypotheses once you even get to that point by different scientists. The globe model has like 6 different fucking versions. So does flat Earth. Like, so trying to pin it like that.
yeah,
it works both
and that's the
ways.
thing. Where everybody's talking past each other with whoever holds these different paradigms, because just as we just pointed out, gravity is not necessary in a flat earther's mind, but gravity is the essential element that holds together our universe in a heliocentric Big Bang cosmology mind. So when you're talking to a flat earther and you hold that belief deeply that that's the way it works, you're talking past that person and vice versa.
So what do they explain
it's
as
hard
the
to
thing
meet
that I
people.
think is gravity? Like keeping me, I jump up in air
There's
and I
a
come back
down.
down.
Okay,
I
it's
drop
not
something.
There's
always
just
the
a
same.
down.
There's just
Here-
constant. There's just a
I'll
constant
give you a
bombardment of like invisible air.
No, it's
from
not a
up
force.
above.
Hold on, Island. It's not
That's
a
what I'm.
force.
Sometimes
That's
it
what I'm
is.
saying.
Sometimes
That's
it
what
is
I'm saying.
Some
It's
people
not a
believe that the
pull.
flat plane is actually rising consistently. That the actual plane is going straight up. It's always rising, which is why you're stuck to the ground, which is why buoyancy works.
No.
Yeah, but I don't feel that. So how is
That's
that a
not
thing?
what flat earthers think in any way, shape, or form.
Some do. I'm saying it's
No,
not
some-
one
some
type.
do.
Others
Some of them
believe
Yeah,
it's electromagnetism.
Yeah, most of them think it's electrostatic effect, this electromagnetic aspect that, they play into the whole Tesla thing. There's an up and down in nature, and we live in this electromagnetic toroidal world. And that's the way that they view it, mostly, like 95% of them, from my experience, which means there's an up and down in nature. Gravity is an imaginary concept. If you go look at what gravity is, not the fact that something falls at 9.832 meters per second, that's a fact, okay? But you see, in the heliocentric model, they say because it's being pulled to the greater mass, which is the Earth. But that's an imaginary force. I mean, really, to be objective about this, let's at least accept that. Go to Wikipedia and look up the gravitation, and there's no answer for it. They don't know what it is. Even Neil deGrasse Tyson, he was asked, what's gravity? He's like, I don't know. We don't know what it is. We just know it exists, and we can measure it. That means that there's a down force that they're measuring.
No,
I'm
it
measuring
just
down
means
force
they
right
haven't
now.
recreated it in a lab.
I just googled gravitation and it's a manga. What are you doing to me here?
A manga?
Yeah.
As long as it's not hentai. As long as it's not hentai,
What have you
bro.
been searching for lately?
Look, I'm not
First
saying that
result.
this is. Look, I don't believe this stuff. All I'm saying is
Wait.
I've gone enough into their world to understand the way they look at it at this point.
So I guess we can agree that whenever we ask you these questions, because we don't know all the views of flat Earth, we should make a disclaimer from now on that we're not saying it in vitriol manner when we just throw out which flat Earthers believe what. But the issue is, it actually gets back down to the issue. Like, if there's so many different kinds, like how come, I don't know, do they think about doing like a Mecca or like a pilgrimage together? I mean, like, we need to figure out what we all believe, because
for the most part, they are on board.
It's kind of
90%
weird.
Of it. No, they are. They're 90, like the way I just explained it right there. 95% of them would say that's the way it works. If you go to like the Flat Earth Society, which they all claim is a complete controlled government website, because nobody agrees with it. They say, like Ireland just said, they believe that the disc is flying upwards at 9.832 meters per second. That's what gives. It's fucking nonsense. It's gobbledygook to make it look stupid. That's all that is.
Look at buoyancy, and what's the terminal velocity of something buoyantly going upward through a fluid? It's the same as gravity with something falling through a fluid, and that's part of what.
And another thing that the heliocentrics don't get, when the word buoyancy, if you go look at the mathematics for buoyancy, it includes big G in the fucking equation. So this is how people are talking past each other. If they're like, oh, it's just buoyancy and density, well, then the heliocentric goes, but wait a second, you just said gravity doesn't exist. Because everything has to kind of be fit into that other paradigm, which means that there's just a downforce. That's it. But this is it's a complex situation.
Like I said, some believe the disk is rising at that speed, so it's
no one I know, Ireland, no one I know.
I've had people tell me that in flat Earth communities.
They're retarded.
I've had flat Earth people tell me all different types of weird, like.
I have heard that.
And none of them have been able to tell me why I can't see Belgium from Southend.
Well, I can tell you that. That's why I wanted to jump in here. Atmospheric conditions. Your eyes also have a limited reach of what you can see, including optics. So there's actually a great website. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it's like the longest distant camera shots. And there's some shots that go up to about 140 miles, but it requires the best conditions possible in order for that to occur. So you can't see across that channel because of the conditions and the limitations of your eye and optics.
But yet you can
now, when you're looking up, the atmosphere progressively gets thinner and thinner and thinner. Actually, quite radically. It's almost exponential once you get past 60,000 feet.
You're seeing stars and stuff from millions of miles away because they're producing a light source.
Yeah, you're taking in the light. You're not seeing the object.
You're not seeing
I understand that.
Exactly.
But that's the way they explain it. Light years and this whole idea of an infinite distant, star is, in my opinion, this is where I actually side with them a little bit. I personally think the stars are close and local, but that's just my personal cosmology. I'm not saying the shape of the Earth matters in this. I'm just saying I don't think
we feel their downforce, or wouldn't they feel our downforce?
we see that that's playing into that whole gravity being real thing. I mean, gravity really isn't real. It just.
But you said that
you're describing it
some
that
kind
way.
of force. Like there has to be some kind of force that when I jump, I come back down to the surface.
Well, okay. I understand where you're coming from.
So
here,
whatever that force is, whatever your definition for that force is, how does that not affect these stars that are apparently really close to us?
Well, here's the thing. I don't think the stars are what they're telling us. I don't think the sun and moon is what they're telling us. Personally, I'm getting into my personal beliefs right now. I think those things are close and local, and I think they're much smaller than what they claim they are. But that's just me, and I'm not here to argue that today.
Right, but I'm not arguing against that. That's fair. What I'm asking is why aren't those affected by the same force?
Well, that's because gravity really is a fictional force. It is only there as a way to explain things, and it doesn't exactly
give a size. Give a size. Hold on.
It's a universal force.
Give a size to these stars.
Well, I don't, like I said, I don't want to get into it. I don't know. I don't know, but I think they're different.
Okay, but my point is I can throw a grain of sand up in the air and it will come back down.
Yes. Listen, gravity is, I understand where you're coming from, but I just think differently about the astral realm above us. I think that this is the earthly realm, and I think that's the astral realm. I don't think they have much of an influence on each other, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Why do comets land on Earth? Why do we have asteroids and all that types of shit?
We're talking about the mysteries of the cosmos here. How the fuck would I know?
It's not really a mystery. The big rocks through space.
No, seriously. Seriously. How would I know what the stars are or how big they are? How would you know? Because someone told you in a fucking textbook? How do they know? Be real.
I mean, someone told me in a textbook how to add like 1 + 1. You know,
yeah,
someone
but they've never been up to
how
the
to speak
stars.
English, how to speak Spanish,
Come
how
on,
to speak
dude.
French.
Nobody's been to a star.
Okay,
Be
here's
real
the deal.
with yourself here.
But a lot of the people
Nobody's been to a language.
I haven't been to Thailand, but I know it's real.
Oh, come on. You're missing my point on purpose. Move on.
No.
Hold on. Okay, let's
to the stars, right? You're saying we haven't been to the stars, so therefore, if anyone tells you that stars are real, they're probably misleading you.
Okay, I
haven't
tell you.
been
No,
to
I'm
Thailand,
not saying misleading.
But I know Thailand is there.
Hold on a second. I can tell you right now, if I look it up, the weight of Jupiter and the chemical composition of Neptune's atmosphere. Did you know that?
Estimated weight.
No. It's based off of Big G from the Cavendish experiment, and it is to the fucking decimal point. Okay? You go search the mass of Jupiter right now, and Google will have an answer in half a second. Then go look at the chemical atmosphere of Neptune. Because of spectroscopy, they point a specific type of device at this light in the sky, and based off of the color that's returned back and the colors that match that in their set of electron colors, they're like, oh, well, that's carbon, and that right there is this gas and that gas. I just don't believe that stuff. It seems a bit fanciful.
See, but we can take those elements and burn them.
Yeah.
I understand.
To get those colors.
I
and then
understand.
apply them to the cosmos.
That still doesn't.
And that's why I get it. Wait, but hold on.
Elements in those
but hold on, no.
aren't affected by the same force that we're affected by.
So you believe we know the atmosphere?
No, I don't believe that we know as much as we know about space.
What about the mass of Jupiter?
However, I don't believe that just because we don't know it doesn't mean that most of what we know isn't.
These are presuppositional projections based off of specific things we've learned on Earth that they're trying to apply to this place up there.
Let's cut down to the conspiracy part. Have they sent stuff in space that has orbited other planets?
You can see stuff in space with telescopes. I've literally seen them with my own eyes.
Absolutely. I'm not denying anything on that.
I'm not saying whether they're satellites or not of Earth. I'm talking about where we've sent rovers onto Mars or things that have orbited planets.
Yeah, I don't believe
you're talking like the Mars rover?
Yeah, it's a bunch of nonsense in my opinion.
Okay, so basically you're saying the Mars rover doesn't exist, so there's conspiracy to be had. Or like the other...
I don't trust the military-industrial complex.
All the other things we've sent probes into the galaxy have not orbited these other planets. They've never done any of that, right?
See, but listen, okay, Ireland. I tried to warn everybody about this like half an hour ago. This is where you run into the meat, because it affects when you said worldview.
I love running into the meat.
But no. And hold on, I'm not trying to like get mad at you, but I'm trying to help you because it seems like we're grilling you for your beliefs. But the issue is, and it's what you said. You said we're coming from we don't believe the Earth is flat. So the issue is, I think that, or you don't we're not investigating in each single thing. Like when I see the Galatian moons of Jupiter, I believe that those are real moons, like from a telescope.
I do too.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right. And right. So my issue is, and also like if I look at ISS, I'm going to believe that it's real. Right.
Well, here's what I'm saying.
But
I think that they're misrepresenting what it is. I think they're giving, and I hate to say it, but I do think NASA is giving a superficial sci-fi rockets to the moon storyline while they're carrying out something behind the scenes. But that's just me personally. I'm not here to argue that.
But they do admit that a lot of it is estimation.
How do they get probes to orbit other planets if they are wrong?
How the fuck would I know, or you know, Ireland?
No, guys, hold on. Okay, he said it right.
They're
he said
also
it's
not
an
perfect
estimation.
orbits, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, no. Here's what I'm saying. What Purposeful is saying is right. We estimate, we think that it's carbon based upon what we think we know on Earth. So when you burn paper that you burn these certain things and they look blue, and if it means carbon, if we measure it from a telescope that we've created, we're going to think that it's carbon. But where you get to the next step of the rabbit hole is people think that total what I just said, even if it's an estimate, it's a cover up to a lie to prevent us to know what it really is. So is it NASA thinks that it's that, or do they know that it's something else and they're lying? That's where you get to the discussion, because no matter what, they always think scientists are lying, and you can't say that.
I don't think one of those, though. That's my point. It could be that they think that's exactly what it is. They're giving us their best estimation,
right, and that's fine.
And they're wrong.
That's fine, right?
They're just fucking wrong. They
okay,
don't be intentionally.
But even if they are wrong, okay. Oh no, even if they are
I
wrong,
agree with that, Ireland.
They could be wrong. If they're wrong, hold on. If they're wrong, say they're wrong. Say all the stuff that we know about Jupiter's mass, all that stuff, all wrong.
I'm not saying it's all wrong. I'm just saying the total, the story they got has just enough where it's off by like they can still get stuff to fucking go around it, whatever it is. Yeah, and their stuff still works close enough, but they're not completely fucking right. They give us their best fucking explanation, but it's still not right. And they're not lying.
Right. And like I said, my only argument concerning them is that they're misrepresenting it. That's my whole point. I don't trust the military-industrial complex. My dad was in the Navy for 22 years, and my real father was in for 10. Like, I've been on military bases. I know the military-industrial complex has zero interest in telling the public truth about any fucking matter. It's all about knowledge. It's all about national security, including space. Big time.
Well, have you heard that?
I think they're misrepresenting it.
Have you guys heard that the other conspiracy theory? I just heard about this yesterday. Well, let's get off flat Earth because we're kind of going circular, right? But just a real quick one.
Thomas made a pun.
Yeah, I was thinking like laws of logic and like circular reasoning. I'm like, okay. Well, anyway, so I've heard this, and it's doing the rounds. It is the nuclear hoax. It is we didn't drop bombs on Hiroshima.
Man.
Fuck off.
I know.
Hold on.
I don't believe it.
If you look at images of Tokyo after it was firebombed, it looks suspiciously just the same as Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Plus, there's no debris in the roads in those images as well. And the concrete buildings are still standing. It was only the wood buildings that were burned to the ground. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying that's the evidence that they lean towards.
Well, I think the damage part is different. I think Well, now then you get back to the film footage. Like, I think the film footage that I've seen is all real. I don't think that I think the size of the bombs are probably like, different, but I think they were all atomic weapons, right?
Well, I've seen a lot. Well, if you watch that Trinity
bombs
movie,
explode in air. They don't hit the ground and explode. Yeah. Therefore, they don't leave craters. That's why we don't see craters.
No. I know. But if you watch that Trinity movie, there is a lot of fakery in that. And you got to understand, this was propaganda. These were propaganda reels. This is trauma-based mind control, not only on the enemy's population, but it's on your own population.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So I think it's misrepresented. I don't think it's not real.
But misrepresenting things and over-exaggerating things doesn't mean that they're not real. Like when it comes to the Holocaust, right? The Holocaust is a huge meme right now, right? Holocaust denial and all that other stuff.
Well, it's been a meme for a long time.
Right, but exactly. I have seen fucking the 6 million or whatever. I don't believe that. I've seen so much evidence that does not point towards 6 million. Not even fucking close, right? But that doesn't mean that the Holocaust didn't happen. That doesn't
Right.
mean the
No,
Jews
and
weren't
here's what
rounded up
pisses me
and
off
sent
about that.
to die, right?
85 million people are said to have died during World War II. After World War II, Mao killed 40 million and Stalin killed about 45 million. But the only thing we hear about is 6 million in ovens. No, I have to agree with you. The number is much lower.
They actually they had the 6 million number before anybody even went and found death camps.
Back in 33, I actually have newspapers
they were making
where they were making that statement based off of World War One. Yeah, because there's an old Talmudic
but that doesn't mean
prophecy.
That doesn't mean that Jews weren't rounded up and fucking slaughtered on wholesale.
No, I agree.
Right.
I agree 100% with that. Yeah. But that's the thing, is like, especially with the nuclear hoax
but that's
idea,
that's where I come at with the flat earth thing. Like, just like you said with the planets, like, just because the numbers don't add up to what they should
doesn't
or
mean
whatever,
the world's
doesn't
flat.
mean it doesn't mean the world's flat. Doesn't mean that Jupiter's not far out there. It might not be 98 million. It might be 97.5 million. I don't give a fuck. It's still fucking 90 some million miles out there, right? It's still, I can't touch it.
Think that. Do you think the sun is 93 million miles away?
Those are just numbers I put out of the top of my head. My point is that I don't need the actual fucking down to the decimal numbers to believe that something still fucking exists within that realm of possibility.
I agree with that. No, it's very reasonable. Like, if people do go too far, they'll be like, "Oh, that looks like a firebombing. Nukes are totally a hoax," or "Oh, that number doesn't make sense for space." Oh, well, the Earth is fucking flat. There's retards everywhere, so of course you're gonna find that. But I think the smarter people don't go that route.
Have you guys seen the iPhone stuff this week that the flat earthers are bringing up?
Yeah, the gyroscope and the accelerometer.
Yeah. Did you realize that was completely fucking bogus?
Or did you buy into it? I guess I haven't bought it.
Like it was a troll on the flat Earth community.
Well, they have
trolling themselves if that's the case.
Look, I'll make it real simple. They use what is called a digital gyroscope. It has basically a micro piece of silicone in a box. So it's like a tennis ball inside a shoebox, and it has a bunch of sensors all around the box. And when the ball goes to one part of the box, it pushes on one side. So the phone actually does know which way is down. So these guys are like, it doesn't say. The gyroscope is basically equivalent to a weighted gyroscope. It's not a free-moving 3-axis gyroscope in a phone. It's weighted. It's just like artificial horizons on a plane. They have one of the gyroscope parts that are weighed down. So the z-axis is always based on the force that pulls us to the Earth. I don't care if you believe you're on flat, concave, or globe.
But the thing is, it's not measuring. But this is what they're saying. It's not measuring the actual downforce, which is what a lot of globers, I guess you can call them, believe. That's not part of it. It's given a command at 9.832 meters per second as to what the downforce is when it's designated. That's why you have to set it on a table and make sure you set it. So that the phone knows what down is.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying.
Right? One's an accelerometer, one's a gyro.
Yeah, I understand.
They both have a silicone ball inside. One is based on how much that ball moves in any direction. If it's not moving, it doesn't register it. And the other is based on a pressure of where the ball is inside.
Okay, well, I don't want to bog this hangout down with this.
I'm just saying that shit's garbage. Okay. Like, it's basic flat Earth, like bogus info. Like, say, look, it proves it's flat. It doesn't prove shit. It would work the same way.
No, they didn't say it would prove it flat. They said that it's yeah. Okay, whatever. I don't care. I didn't fucking come up with it. But look, the larger point. None of these gentlemen here are even close to even, I think, knowing the depths of flat Earth. And that's the reason why I wanted to come in and try to alleviate some questions, because this topic is not going away. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah. On that question, would you guys say that you guys are seeing more flat earthers on the YouTube community?
Huge. Dude, listen, there were 2,000.
Yes and no.
Hold on, Ireland. Hold on. There were 2,000 total live viewers today. You got 1,400 in Glowbusters, 300 in You've Been Exposed, 150 in IPS. So you have, I'd say about 3 months ago, it was only maybe max 1,000. So it's doubled in interest.
Sure. What you just said, I fully agree. I've seen those channels. The problem is, of actual flat earthers, people I would go, these are flat earthers. These are people actually investigating it, looking into it, not just following these people that I think are the shills of the community. I think flat earth's basically been taken over. So there's more people
But
let's
looking at
face it,
it.
conspiracy
As far as
minded.
people actually like
there's
doing
like millions
stuff
and millions
themselves,
of people
it's
out
been
there who
ruined.
own the fidget spinners, right?
What's that?
What's that? Oh God, the
I'm
fidget
saying, like,
spinner
let's be. I'm
bullshit.
saying, yeah, I'm saying, let's be fair here. There's still like millions and millions of people out there that like buy into the fidget spinners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's millions of
Yeah, but
people,
that's not
millions and
fair.
millions of people out there who think that like the wage gap is the fucking like end all be all, and it's absolutely true, and patriarchy.
Yep.
Like, there's people out there that believe some really stupid shit. And once a
Yeah.
stupid shit idea comes out, it doesn't. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that flat Earth is wrong or it's right. Right. I'm just saying that people believe in stupid shit. And once
And no, and I.
that's
So
right.
listen, I want to add to that real quickly. Just as I said earlier when I came in, for the most part, what I've observed, this is just people going out and testing the world around them. Sure, there's going to be dogmatic believers. That's the majority of people, unfortunately, in the world. But for the most part, it does seem to be a genuine decision to want to learn about the world around them. What other topic have you found that creates such a desire in a human being these days? I think it's a good thing. I've called myself flat Earth apologist this whole time because I think asking this question is healthy. But it just
I don't
goes
have a problem
too far
with asking questions, but like you said, the dogmatic fucking shit that's being brought up, like that.
Yeah,
needs
but the globe people are
outside of the
dogmatic
argument,
as fuck too. Come on, go over to a friend who believes in the globe, who's never looked into it. Ask him why he believes in the globe. Ask him how fast are we moving around the sun. Ask him how fast are we spinning at the fucking equator. None of those questions will be able to be answered because they dogmatically believe they live on a globe. This is why the question is so important.
Do you believe you're flat, or do you have no opinion on any of this at this point?
I told you, I'm not a flat earther. I'm not. I've seen
here's
enough
my thing.
information.
Though. Here's my thing.
I've
though.
seen.
Okay.
I'm not going to disagree that people who believe that they live on a globe can't be dogmatic, right? But what I am going to say is that the people who think that we live on a globe is, by and large, the huge majority of society.
99.99%.
99.9%, right? So hold on. Let me finish. So regardless of whether or not the globe is true or it's false, or regardless of whether or not people who believe they live on a globe are dogmatic or not, the people who believe that we actually live on a flat Earth are the ones trying to change the narrative. So if they want to change the narrative, then what they need to do is they need to wash all of the dogmatic principles out of their belief.
Agreed.
Okay, so you see what I'm saying.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate that too.
If they want to make a point, and this is the same thing I say about everything. Like the skeptic anti-SJW community, like they can't coalesce on single arguments. They just get petty and they nitpick and they do all this stupid shit. Same thing with the social justice crowd. They have like 18 different fucking forms of fucking social justice. They can't agree on a thing. The Democratic Party right now is like 18 different types of Democrats. Like, you're never going to change anybody's opinion. Right? You're never going to sway anybody to your opinion if you don't have a solid opinion.
Divide and conquer.
It doesn't work that way.
It's just the way the system is. But I want to answer real quick for Ireland here. This is the way that I've been answering this question. There is enough scientific information that exists in the world that can lead one to believe that the Earth is a globe. But we as human beings experience it as a flat, motionless plane. That is the truest statement I can make about this subject. I've been studying geodesy for the past 6 months, and they are measuring what's called inclination, which is technically what they call curvature. But it is still, they're still using the radius of the fucking Earth in their equations. So there is a level of possibility there of some type of deep trickery, but I'm not going to go that far. That's a conspiracy mindset I don't like to take. But you see my point.
Look, I have no conspiracy attitude online, and I don't believe that we're on a globe at all. I don't believe we're on a flat plane. I have no thought of we're being lied to.
Why don't you tell the panel what you?
Yeah, what do you believe? Because you brought that up a few times and you haven't clarified.
This is great.
We're on the back of a turtle, aren't we?
All right, I believe.
Back of 4 elephants flying through space, and that turtle is called a tuin.
The entire universe is inverse, and I don't mean concave. I'm talking it's bigger on the inside. The universe is inside the Earth. We are on the inside. It would model as a concave. Gravitationally, it would still be a globe. And anything we use to measure it that would be used with light would measure flat.
So you're saying the Earth is a TARDIS?
Yes.
Yep. I sure
Time
am.
and relative dimensions in space. The Earth is a TARDIS.
Visually, it would be inside it, like a concave Earth, but he tries to avoid
It would look
that.
like a concave.
Yeah.
Yes. But
Well, then how come when we look up we don't see China?
No, because you would have an infinite universe between you and China.
This is where philosophically it gets
Yeah,
a bit hard
duh.
for people to grasp.
Yeah, that's a bit hard to grasp.
Hang on. If there
I
is
love it.
infinite
Listen,
distance
Ireland came
between
up with
here
this
and
shit on its
China,
own.
how can we
I fucking
travel
love
to
it.
China? If the distance is infinite.
Because we travel on the face of the globe. On the face of the globe, it still measures as if you were on a globe, right? Like it's so
Wait,
many
what?
thousands of miles. If you're on
This
the
is a
inside of
whole
that
new
concave,
realm of quantum
touching
physics.
it. Well,
Yes, it
yeah,
is.
there's actually been mathematics done about it in the early '80s, and they said there's no way you could tell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
what you're
actually
saying
right.
is
He's
there's
actually
no
right. There was
using, like conventional
a
motion,
math-
but you're creating Einstein-Rosenberg briggs.
well, there was a mathematician from where was he from? Ireland,
from Egypt.
Egypt, who actually inverted the entire universe and the Earth mathematically, and it all worked out. But it
Yeah, he was
required this
talking-
infinite center point, which to me it's hard to even get my head around. But Ireland here is firmly
Yeah.
in that camp at this point.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am.
You can
I
do
think
a
it
lot with
explains all
theoretical
the reasons
math. It
we
doesn't mean there's anything to it. It just means you can get something to work on paper.
But here's what's so great about this
I totally
topic.
understand that. But what I'm getting at is the things that we use to debunk flat Earth, you can't use them to debunk this.
But here's the
things that
thing.
flat earthers point out don't work, or even the concavers who say when we measure this physically as best we could, mine shaft experiment, we keep ending up with concave, and they go, oh well, those big tests were bullshit. They've never been redone. Blah blah. Well, somebody fucking redo them then, because they match what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and actually, he's right. There was this experiment called the Tamarack Mine Experiment, where they put these plumb bobs down these long mine shafts that were a good distance apart from each other, and they measured it. They were expecting them to diverge, essentially, to show the sphericity of the Earth. They ended up converging, basically demonstrating a concave Earth. And it's on the books. You can look it up. It's called Tamarack Mine Experiment. But it's never been duplicated, and it's one of these, old things. But look, the whole reason I've ever been interested in this is because I'm about alternative cosmology. I investigate electromagnetic universe. I investigate these ideas, this inverse idea, these people talking flat Earth, all this stuff. I like getting into it because you learn so much about your own cosmology. You learn so much about the world around you when you investigate it in an alternative way. That's the only reason I'm into this, because you learn a lot.
Okay, so just really quick, on a more like humorous side of some flat earthers, not all of them, it's probably like the 1%. But do you guys know what some of the like religious ones think about the logo? It's actually kind of funny.
The logo?
Guys,
the NASA logo being the actual map of the Earth, and their
No. They think
that's
the
the
NASA
UN flag. Yeah,
No,
the
no,
NASA
this is
logo
the-
is the snake's tongue,
snake,
the forked
yeah.
tongue. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, I'm
it's a
getting my
fake tongue,
conspiracy
right?
theories mixed up.
Yeah, which
Right.
are we talking?
So some flat earthers think that the NASA logo, the red part, the vector-looking part, they think that's the end of a snake's tongue, and so that snake is the serpent, is Satan to distract you, to let you know the world is a globe.
But hold on, here's the funny thing. If you look at the origins of NASA, Jack Parsons, who created Jack Parsons Laboratory, which is now known as JPL, he was a dark occultist who actually learned from Aleister Crowley. And when he was sending up rockets...
It is true, though, yeah.
It is true. And Werner von Braun was part of the Vril Society. These guys were all dark occultists, these Nazis that they brought over.
Wait.
And they all teamed up. What?
Who is a dark wizard? What?
Jack Parsons, okay? He learned from Aleister Crowley. They actually lived together. And even L. Ron Hubbard. They were all fucking best friends. L. Ron Hubbard took the ideas of the OTO and created Scientology. But Jack Parsons, he was trying to create a moonchild with his Scarlet Woman in a Babylon working ceremony where he sent up these obelisks that he called rockets in order to impregnate the sky goddess. This is the guy who created NASA with Werner von Braun.
Yeah.
What's that?
I mean, if you were going to impregnate the moon, how else would you do it besides the giant rocket penis?
Exactly. Obelisks. They're penis, essentially. But no, these guys were the creators of NASA. It was Jack Parsons.
But I mean, even
they
so,
were both dark occultists.
Mean anything?
No. It's a fact, though. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it means anything, but
It's
you have to
interesting
take this
and
stuff
weird,
into account.
But it's like,
That's all.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. It's an interesting thing that they believe in because it's not everybody. It's not all the flat earthers. Because there's
No, but
there's atheist
but
flat
those things
earthers.
that I just mentioned are facts. You go look at the occult origins
Right.
of NASA, and it makes sense that they would say
Oh, sure,
that
yeah.
that's a serpent.
I've read about it.
because
I've read about it.
Very interesting.
But it doesn't mean the
right, like realistic.
but it doesn't right. But it doesn't really mean the NASA logo is necessarily that.
No. But here's the
right,
thing I've
right.
learned in this world. Okay, as I said earlier, there's the exoteric and there's the esoteric to everything, especially at these high agencies and shit. Exoteric means the obvious, the external, the inobvious. Esoteric means secretly what they're doing, what they mean. There's tons of symbology. There's tons of numerology. Look at the patches from all of the NASA programs. Also, this one's really interesting. The shuttle names. Here is the sentence that every one of the shuttle names makes. A Colombian enterprise to endeavor to discover Atlantis, and all challengers will be destroyed. That's the sentence that every one of the programs make if you line them up sequentially.
cool.
Seriously, check it.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
The Challenger was the one that got destroyed.
That's kind of cool and an amazing coincidence.
That's no coincidence, brother. These people are esoteric as fuck. You've got to research it. Now, I'm not saying it means anything. I'm not saying that they're Satan or they're...
That's 1,000,000 to 1 shot that would happen, so it's going to happen.
No, they did it on purpose. It's clear. You can see it when the systems were set up. So, look, they are esoteric. There's a ton of occult symbology that is all in the patches, all in what they do, because we're dealing with the cosmos here. When you go and start researching like Hermeticism and alchemy, which these guys were into, that's essentially what we call magic today with a K at the end. It all comes from
the mathematical, a lot of
you've got gematria, all this shit. This is the old science. This stuff is just
the Egyptian, and well, I think that's the thing. I think what people have to understand is like it doesn't mean that Satan is real. It doesn't mean that a snake is like the logo itself, right? But
Satan
I think that
just means adversary too. By the way, a lot of people get this fucked up. Satan is not an individual.
Right.
The word Satan is an adjective that means adversary. So everybody's got that twisted up too. But anyways, I'm sorry, I'm going on too much about these other topics. That's the type of stuff that I'm into, is the alchemical occult side of things. Which
the thing is, I think so many people. Okay, like for example, there are occult things that people use in normal like companies, right? You look at a lot of oil companies; they all use like they use the sun, stuff like that. It's like but
especially
but
Saturn, a lot of cube and Saturn worship. Yeah.
But the issue is, I think that some people they look at it certain ways. You can look at it from an advertising, like we can use this old school symbol. It means the earth. It means the oil. Or you can think that they are, like some people think that they are like literally Satanists and Illuminati. They're like they go in their basement and they hum at night and like pray Saturn. Like I don't think that they're
There's
like
a lot of that.
But,
no, there is a lot of that. But I understand what you're saying. It goes back to that whole esoteric aspect.
Hold on. Now, before you say what you're gonna say, I know you think they do, but I don't think they do.
Them. No, I feel you.
I'm not. Yeah. But either way, I think it's interesting that it goes that far. You know, on the one hand, it's just a badge to represent the star mission, and then somebody could see it as a symbol for something.
Yeah,
and,
but that's
I
the
guess
thing. I've been studying this whole occult shit for. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to say I've been studying this shit now for a good 2 years solid, and this like occult, hidden, alchemical, like modern day magic, Illuminati, whatever the fuck you want to call it. This exists. It is very fucking real. And a lot of these, if you see sun symbology or Saturn symbology or a lot of these old esoteric symbols that are being put into companies, there was a person who made a conscious decision to use that for neuro-linguistic programming reasons. Like you said, the exoteric, like it's a common symbol, so it's going to appeal to the masses more. But there is the deep esoteric reasons why they're doing this too. That's just my whole point in the whole thing.
So I've been messing with those shuttle names the whole time. Though the order that they were used in doesn't make that sentence.
Yeah, but they're there. I thought they were constructed.
Yeah, but
I thought they were constructed in that order. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean,
which I'm fine being wrong, but the fact is the fucking sentence exists. So.
I mean, it's kind of weird that you can make that sentence, but that's pretty reaching.
No, that's fair. Hey, I'm not trying to say it means anything either. It's just that exists. Right. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it does. It is. I mean, anybody who is involved with Crowley is a nut job and probably did all sorts of weird things. So there's probably some.
Go look up Jack Parsons' life. There's some great documentaries on YouTube about it, and it'll blow your fucking mind, dude. And this is that's JPL. The reason it's named JPL is Jack Parsons Laboratory. They actually burn an effigy of Jack Parsons every fucking year on Halloween. It's this big like occult ritual that they do at the fucking facility. I'm telling you, man, this is not what you think it is, dude. They got something very different going on behind the scenes.
Well, it's always they. Always they.
Well, I know.
Those people.
It's always
people at JPL.
All I can say.
I said the people at JPL.
Hold on, it's got to be they, because how do you give? Hold on, why is they the word that's like the contention here? Like I don't understand that.
Thank you.
What are you supposed to do? Either A.
Them.
Oh, fair. Yeah, that's fair.
No, hold on. Either A, it's they because you don't know who they are, or B, it's they because we don't have the fucking 19 hours it's going to take to list literally everybody's name.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but
no, I understand when you talk to conspiracy theorists, they're like they're trying to kill us or they're putting fluoride in our water. Yeah, I understand the you're saying who is they, but we were talking about JPL at that moment.
Right.
Who
I'll admit I've been tuning in and out. I'm getting tired.
Sorry, I have that effect on people.
Are you saying NASA burns a effigy of Jack Parsons?
JPL does. The facility, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, as they call it nowadays.
Okay.
Seriously,
like
man,
when you watch that movie,
I'm trying to
The Martian, like
where did that come from? Like who?
Jack Parsons.
No. Like the whole thing where they burn an effigy every Halloween. Where did that come from?
It's Jack Parsons. It's pay tribute to Jack.
No, I know. I understand the reasoning, but I'm saying where did the information that they do that come from? Because I can't find it.
I've seen it through my research over the years, I suppose. Sorry, I don't have citation for you, but maybe I'll.
You may have to read up on Jack Parsons.
Yeah, you've given now. Good job. Yeah, good luck sleeping tonight. I'm gonna have to. Anyway, so one thing that really bothers me that I have, because I can poke holes in pretty much every conspiracy and not worry about it. One thing that does bother me is the weird nature of that airport. I think it's the Colorado airport.
Oh yeah, big time.
That one is one that I cannot figure out. It's so weird.
Dude, they have 30 floors underneath it. And did you see Elon Musk buy that new company called the Boring Company, where he bought a massive drill to build these deep underground military bases? Did you see that?
I'm convinced Elon Musk is something in a human suit in the first place, so I don't even.
Oh, dude,
Elon Musk is the greatest supervillain this world has ever seen.
Dude, his wife, I can't remember her first name, but she's an author who writes fictions about demons that inhabit the bodies of soulless individuals in deep underground military bases. That's what her books are about. And now he just bought
Tallulah Riley.
Yeah, well, she's an author, whoever the fucking name.
I thought she was an actress and not a very good one.
Let me see. Check. Let me see. Did you know Elon Musk's name is an anagram for lone scum? But anyways, look, this stuff is worth looking into. It really is. There's a lot of weird stuff going on behind the scenes. And if they try to have this exoteric, playful sci-fi, rocket ships to the moon, but it's not that. There's a huge secret space program going on in my assessment. And you just have to look into it.
For what reason?
Who fucking knows, dude? We have no idea what the fuck that shit is up there. We don't know.
Summon the demons from Saturn, duh.
Well, you have the Nephilim, the fucking fallen angels in Antarctica, the fucking Pleiadians are coming in September. I don't fucking know. But, there's a bunch of crazy shit going on.
I'll be sure and sharpen my broadsword for that battle. I hope there's good loot.
Dude.
Sets for President 2020.
Well,
guys, you got to remember, though, the CERN may put a black hole in the Earth, so it may not matter anyway, right? I mean, tomorrow
CERN
dude,
there's so much weird
Earth,
shit.
right?
Technically,
CERN. Good old CERN.
There's micro black holes in the atmosphere every day, so it's no worries.
What day does CERN go live this year?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. A black hole that size would have absolutely no effect on Earth.
Yeah, it's
At
just going
all.
to dissipate.
Oh, black holes
That's
are
not how
fictional
black holes
mathematical
work.
constructs.
Let's
Wait,
get the
but-
black hole and
Otherwise, we
how
wouldn't have
much
flat
easier to
Earth. And,
think.
we can't have flat Earth and black hole. That would.
Well, no, come on, guys. Let's be real. Black holes are mathematical constructs necessary for the amount of gravity that is that we see in the galaxy. It's the whole dark matter, dark energy black hole. It's all mathematically constructed. It's not real. That's the fucking thing that
Dark
pisses me off.
energy
the most.
is not a black hole.
Hold on. How it?
It's not
Okay.
real
Okay. No, how do you know it's not real?
because it's a mathematical construct. When you actually dig in to understand why they say this
Just like
stuff is
gender,
here,
am I right?
it's a mathematical. I'm black hole fluid, guys.
Sets, you're
I'm
my
black hole
favorite.
fluid.
2020 sets for Prez.
No, and I'm not trying to like blow people's paradigms up or anything, but seriously, when you dig
No, I'm
into it,
legitimately
it is a
asking, 'cause I'm
mathematical construct. Look, the amount of dark matter and dark energy that exists in the world, it sums to 97% of the equation.
Okay, but just because
I'm telling
it's,
you.
But that has nothing to
Hold
do
on.
with black holes.
but
No,
just
no, no.
because it's a mathematical
They're
construct,
part
why
of
does
that
mean it's not
mass.
real?
No, no, no. What I'm saying is, okay,
Just because
Black
it's
holes
theory,
are-
how does that mean it's not real?
because you just said it, it's theory. That's it.
Okay.
It's theory.
You
It
want me? I mean, do I really have to
exists
go? Do I really have to start rattling off all types of things that were theories that are?
No, no, no,
before-
no, no. But
before
in this
today that
context,
have
can
been
you
so-
prove that black holes are real right
Just
now?
because we
Can you
don't.
prove it?
Can I prove that they're not real now? What does that have to do with them
No,
being
no, no.
not real? Just
Well,
because they're not
you
real
can
today
see
doesn't
where
mean
they're
they're
I'm
not
not
with
telling
some of the
you
images
that they are
released by NASA.
mathematically constructed, necessary for the Big Bang cosmology. It is
Okay.
just simply that.
Okay, but what I'm
We have
telling
one
you
at
is
the
that you
center
can't
of our
just-
galaxy.
you can't dismiss something as being something that's false or fake, like black holes. Just
Do
because
you
can't
have
prove it
evidence
now.
of them? Do you
Jesus
have
Christ, dude, did
evidence
you-
of them?
Listen to what I'm
I'm
saying.
sorry.
Look at the center of the
Listen to
Milky
hold
Way.
on. Let me explain this one more time. Listen to what I'm saying. You cannot feasibly say that just because you can't prove it right now, today, that it doesn't exist. If
You
Why
hear
are
the
you
sentence
laughing?
you just said?
if that was the
It
basis,
doesn't
we would
exist.
literally still be living in caves. Did guns exist before we invented them?
No, but you hear
Did clothes
yourself.
exist before
It
we invented
doesn't
them?
exist. Look, I'm sorry you got an emotional attachment to black holes.
No, it's
I
not an
know,
emotional
but
attachment.
like it's
No
weird.
Being illogical.
I'm being extremely logical. There's zero fucking evidence,
What about
empirical
atoms? What about atoms and
evidence.
shit? What about atoms and shit?
What about them, dude? We're talking about black holes right now. Come on, let's
No,
not
no,
get
no.
Caleb.
What about atoms?
What
Did
about
atoms always
They
exist?
might
Atoms
be-
and
or did they just
molecules
fart
were a
in them one
theory
day?
until Albert
Atoms
Einstein.
might be these little
paper about
energetic toroids, and that's what creates the particle wave duality that we see in quantum. Who fucking cares? We're talking about black holes, dude. They don't
No.
exist. They exist on paper only, dude.
Yeah. What about atoms? Did they not exist only on paper at one point?
Bro,
Were they
there
not only
that-
just a theory?
Look, there is another theory besides atomism. Okay, can you show me a picture of an atom? I don't want to get into that, but
I'll
like,
show you
what
a
is
picture
your
of an
point?
atom.
Show me a picture of an atom.
Drawing
My point-
naked guy intensifies.
Some guy named Adam.
Sets for Prez 2020.
Bro, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a dick, but look, all I'm saying is these are mathematical constructs. The amount of dark matter and dark energy that is required, and the reason why they call them that is not because it's some mystical little force that we haven't fucking detected yet. It's they call it that because it's a placeholder. We have to come up with that number because the speed that these galaxies spin is too fast for the amount of lights that we count in there. The amount of gravity isn't there. So we say, well, shit, there's 97% of the universe that we're not seeing here based
The
off of their
galaxy is
Big
God's
Bang
fidget spinner.
cosmology. I'm just saying Big Bang cosmology's bunk, guys. Look into electromagnetic universe. Look into
And I'm saying just
steady
because you
state
say
universe.
that it's bunk doesn't mean that it is bunk.
No, I'm just saying there's
Just because you
alternatives.
don't have
Steady
evidence
state.
of it now doesn't
Look
mean
at
that it's
steady
bunk.
state. Guys, look at steady state. Look at electromagnetic universe. There are other answers to these questions that make more sense than this Big Bang garbage that they sold us.
Do you
Just
do you
saying.
believe that? Do you believe the atomic bombs are real? Do you believe we have things like, fusion energy?
Do I
and
believe
nuclear
that
energy?
they can split an atom like the way they told us? No. I think that they have large munitions in ways that we don't understand, but I can't say objectively
What's
either
the
way.
science behind those large munitions?
I don't know, dude. I'm an empirical. I'm a rational empiricist. I only say
Okay,
what's
so
true if I can
okay,
prove it.
so, right.
I just told you I believe
Okay,
that.
so you can
Did I
prove that
not?
we have munitions, right? Large munitions. You can prove that
Yeah,
because
we
see
call them nuclear
What's the
weapons.
science behind
Sure.
it? What's the science?
Well, they
behind it?
claim that it's
conclusion.
splitting an atom, smashing an atom. That's what they claim it is, and it might be that, but I don't know. Do you know?
Right. But did we know that hundreds of thousands of years ago? Did we know that 10,000 years ago? Did we know that 1,000 years ago?
No, what's your
About
point
200 years
though, dude?
My point is exactly what I said that at the very beginning of this little,
Okay.
I guess, discussion. Is
Look,
that just
I'm
because you
sorry
can't
if
prove
I
it
rubbed you the
today-
wrong way. I
No,
don't
you didn't
know.
rub me the wrong way. I'm trying to explain. You keep asking me, so I'm trying to explain it to you again. It doesn't have anything to do with being rubbed the wrong way. Just because you don't know something today doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
But if you also create fiction today, doesn't mean it's going to exist in the future. These are possible answers, and I agree with you. Hold on, I agree with you. If we project something today based off of mathematical models and specific ideas, we can absolutely find it in the future. But it doesn't mean it's correct until we find it.
You didn't say that. You said that there are no black holes, which is
there are no black holes that we have ever discovered, and there are proof of. That's a fact. I'm not being
now
disingenuous.
That you've clarified, it makes a little bit more sense. But for you to
I'm sorry.
definitely say there are no black holes, it kind of sounds.
Well, I'm just saying black holes are necessary for the Big Bang cosmology. So it's quite possible there is no black holes. It's just a way to explain what we see up in the sky. That's it.
I mean,
it's a
technically,
paradigm.
the term black hole is wrong as well. It should be singularity if we're going to be precise about it. But
right.
Hey.
But the ultimate irony here is you're questioning all the things about NASA and whatnot, but you're not skeptical that black holes are a possibility.
No, I am. I'm just saying that they fit into this Big Bang paradigm that personally I don't agree with. I lean more towards electromagnetic universe theory, which discredits all that nonsense and can be reproduced here on Earth.
And you say electromagnetic theory. Are you just talking about the ether?
Yeah, the ether theory. You can go look at
that's Nikola Tesla. That's the bell.
Yeah,
Einstein.
Einstein was put forth in order to discredit these ideas. He threw the ether out arbitrarily and came up with his bullshit idea of space-time continuums and shit. It's metaphysical nonsense that only exists in mathematicians' fucking workbooks. Now, the real testable stuff is what we can do here on Earth, and if it matches up with what we see up there, then it's most likely possible. Go look at Thunderbolts of the Gods Project.
Here's the problem with the whole thing he did, right? Like, we now have of what we consider our standard cosmology right now, what's the most accepted, now has a cosmological constant that has to do with dark matter and dark energy. And if it's a constant and it's everywhere and it has a gravitational effect, then we already know that gravity affects light. So the Michelson-Morley experiment, when you revisit it, says that we're not on a globe moving through space. They basically have a theory now that says there both has to be a medium in space and cannot be a medium in space. How the fuck can it be both?
And I want to make something clear for somebody in the audience. It seems that I have somebody who I guess is a fan of mine. I am not a flat earther. I made that very clear. I just question the larger paradigms that exist out there. And I have no problem saying that publicly. But some people seem to have a problem with that.
Is there a flat earther in the chat?
No, we got a good concaver here. Actually, there's a good flat earther. His name's Tim Osmond. He's got that little symbol out there with a little heart and smiley face. He's a hardcore flat earther, and he should come in. He can tell you all about it.
Well, I'm not running this call for much longer than 20 more minutes. I've got work in the morning, so it's getting.
I appreciate it. I haven't been out.
I'll put the challenge out there, though. I would love to see someone disprove an inverse infinite universe. Anybody. I've yet to have it fucking happen in all this time.
I want you to disprove that there's always a transdimensional unicorn behind you, and it's always behind you.
I'm saying with actual evidence, any experiment, anything. The Earth being a dynamo with a magnetic field, things of that nature, which we can't.
You want us to prove that the TARDIS is real, and I kind of really want to do that.
I'm just saying, there's no, like right now you can say we see the second, like the star spinning in the southern pole, right? That they go, we see a spin, a part there. That's why the Earth can't be flat. That's like an actual argument against flat Earth. Or they say, like what I just said about dark matter. Dark matter being throughout the whole universe is a cosmological constant that has gravity affects light, therefore the Michelson-Morley experiment doesn't work. How the fuck can it be both? If you put that together, there's an argument against the globe. I have heard zero, not one fucking person who can say when you inverse the universe into the Earth itself, one argument of something we can actually see, actually test, anything that goes against. Not one person at a university, nothing.
Yeah, but can you test for it?
It's the same test we do. You say all these tests that work, that would say, guess what? This is why you see further than you should, or this is why, when, like, what we see is the axis of evil in the universe would be aiming us, because there's another fucking option to aim us. All these things work on this model, and they go, well, this works on this one, but not this one. This one works on this one, but not this one. But this is the one model where everything works, and people just seem to ignore the hell out of it.
Well,
Does it
it's
change
very
actually
unique.
their life?
It's very unique, Ireland.
Like, nobody even looks into it. There's nobody in these rooms. I've been in this for 10 months. I bet not one person's actually put an in-depth look into the inverse version of the universe. Because it's like, oh, that goes against my...
I don't think anybody
my
has heard of
information.
it, Ireland. I don't think anybody's heard of it. I think
This
it's
is the
It
first
is
I've heard of
literally
it.
the first I've ever heard of this. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's the TARDIS, and I want one. So that's cool.
They're in it.
It's a
man.
very listen. I've known Ireland for about a year now for doing these hangouts on these subjects, and I got to give him some credit because he has done extensive research into this and has come up with his own original ideas. And
Well-
even though they may sound outrageous, and no offense, Ireland, but they may sound outrageous. The more you dig into it, the more interesting it is, and that's the way I look at all these topics. Either it be flat Earth, concave, inverse universe, electromagnetic, geocentric, whatever. I think the first thing a human being should do is get a hold of their cosmology without being told what it is, but for them to go out and discover it for themselves. And that's why I like this whole, conversation. And that's what Ireland has done. He disagrees with all of you, and I disagree mostly, with like the Big Bang and whatnot. And that's what I think is important. Science needs to be questioned on this level, but everybody's just kind of going along with it, and they're being space fanboys. That I can't stand when I see pop science, or I go onto Reddit on our space and everybody's just circle jerking each other. I can't stand that. Like, we need to be thinking for ourselves on these topics.
The
I don't know.
NASA
It's almost like there's
I actually-
overwhelming evidence for the rhetoric.
I can deal with the NASA fanboys who are just like, they just got fed that stuff, and the people who are like, oh, I realized that what I was fed was garbage and ran back to the old garbage, which is flat. That drives me nuts. Like as if it's only two options. If you explore them all, fine. If you still end up on flat or global, whatever, fine. I don't care. But they don't even look. They go, I reject the mainstream, and they run directly to flat Earth. I'm like, what the fuck? That drives me nuts.
Yeah, it's a Hegelian dialectic. But like I said earlier, guys, this conversation is here, and it doesn't seem like it's going away. So I would say that's why I came in, is to kind of help you guys get acquainted with it a little bit better. I'm
good.
happy to come on. You guys are
And
been a
I'll,
great conversation.
I'm going to give you props for that, because most flat earthers that I have encountered just say, "Oh, just go and do your research." You've actually sat down and tried to educate us a little bit, so I have to give you props.
And
on
I appreciate that. And like I said, I'm not a flat earther. I mean, I'm
yeah, but
maybe
you
I'll
have
say I'm
vastly
earth
more
fluid.
knowledge in the area than I do, and I appreciate you coming in and having a
absolutely.
chat.
Yeah.
So
Learning
this
new
is
things
why
is
we
good,
go by Promethean instead of Cathexis.
I don't know. Cathexis is dead. Some guy in
Oh.
England killed him.
Voltaire.
No, but listen. No, I appreciate you pointing that out too. And like the topic is extremely interesting, and it's extremely volatile at the same time because of how contentious it is. You got to think about it. People are uprooting their paradigm, and then they're coming to you and going, "You're brainwashed and indoctrinated because you got conscripted this idea, and you're being tricked." So when a person hears that, most people lash out at that, and it becomes this globe-tard, flat-tard, aggressive bullshit, when really it's a perfect time for a conversation to learn what you know and to learn what somebody else knows. So it's still a reason why I encourage the conversation.
Is that what they say? Is that what they call each other? Flat tards and globe tards?
Globe-tards, yeah, that's it.
That sounds so like biased. That sounds so biosphere.
I hate to say it, but
flat
it's the globe believers who are the most aggressive. Now there are a lot of vitriolic flat earthers, but because you got to think of a science-minded individual who's like really into pop science or really into space, and they're more mainstream about it, and somebody comes up, they never heard the idea, and somebody comes up and says, "Dude, the Earth is flat," and here, let me show you this, this, and this, and this, it pisses them off. It creates a vitriolic response. It happened to me. It pissed me off the first time I heard it 2 years ago. I got mad at the person. I was like, get the fuck out of here. What are you, a retard? Like, this is ridiculous. But the more you look into it, the more you see that. And it's, for me, it's about alternative cosmology. It's not about the fucking shape of the Earth. The Earth measures a globe. Geodesy is measuring a spherical globe. And that's a fact. Now, you could argue around that, and the flat earthers have to, because they see things further than they should, blah, 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 blah. But the conversation is still worth having, in my opinion.
Well, hey, Mike, I was gonna say I'm gonna go.
All right, Tom. Do you wanna give yourself a shameless shilling plug before you go?
No, I just look on Hangouts and stuff. I don't have my own channel, but I would just like to say thanks to everybody. Thanks to everybody for letting me on, and I'll try to follow you, Mike. So
hey, it was a great conversation. It was good talking to you. Actually, I'll take off too. Man. Quick shout out to the chat: Shriminati, P. Mars, good old Calf Hitler, Charlotte. I got little groupies here. Anyways, peace to the gods.
You guys, if you want to like catch me on Minds, how about that? And throw me your links and shit, and I'll put you in the description at the end of the video.
No, I don't got my channel up. I'm just coming out here and do Hangouts every once in a while. But I'm gonna sub you, and if you guys do Hangouts or whatever, I'll hit you up on Hangouts or something.
All right, then, guys. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. Take care.
Later. Thomas, you still owe me that discussion.
He gone.
He's gone.
He gone.
We got Pill Pop. We got Pill Pop.
We got Pill. We got the Triple P. The Ascended himself.
You should look at the chat or the Discord.
Wait, what happened? Hello?
Thomas, you owe me a chat.
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, that's right. Just like maybe some other time?
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, right. All right. I got to go. Thanks, man. That's good seeing you. Purpose for, is it sets or certs?
Sets.
Cool, man. It's good seeing you again.
Sets for President 2020.
All right, see you guys.
See you later. Well, that was interesting.
I mean, it was interesting.
I'm still. Well, no, I am a little bit.
Earth is a sphere, but it's still interesting.
The brains are getting hurt now.
What's that?
Our brains are gonna hurt now. Yeah,
not really. I've heard a lot of things that I've heard a lot of things. Let's just put it that way. But that's what happens when you open yourself to like.
I've heard all of the things.
I haven't heard all of the. I haven't heard all of the things because I learned some stuff today. But
that's true. I'm waiting for the Earth as a pyramid to come around. I'm gonna start that actually. I'll be maximum woke. You're not even on my level.
Are you saying the Earth is a tool of the Illuminati with that statement, sir?
The Earth was kings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
NASA's space penises were the.
Voltaire.
We was Zionists.
Voltaire, say something. Are you still alive? Did you kill yourself? How many necks have you suffered?
Oh, mockery, oh, mockery. If you're there, please speak to us.
I think he fell asleep.
I think he's strangled himself with the guts of the last priest.
Well, hey, I'm gonna head out too, but I'm gonna leave you guys with a little bit of thought process stuff for things you can work with on your own to start working on what you think its applications to the shape of the world might be. And one is take a bar magnet, have a nail, grab a nail like an iron nail, put it on the bar magnet, torch that bar magnet, watch it lose its magnetic ability, and the nail will fall right off. And then ask yourself about how the Earth's magnetic field works, since it's full of basically lava that's coming out of volcanoes that we witness, and how it can still be a magnet.
Okay.
I know you're gonna go, oh, what? How's that? Like the iron core doesn't work as a big core? No, it doesn't work as a big core.
Well, the lava isn't necessarily iron.
No, but what I'm saying is the heat destroys the ability for an iron magnet or any type of stationary magnet to hold magnetism. It doesn't work at extreme temperatures. So the Earth has to be a dynamo. It has to actually be electromagnetic in order for the Earth to have a magnetic field. This is like taught, since like the 50s. Like you can find old cartoons about
I
it.
get that. You're spinning massive iron in the middle, creating the magnetic field. If you have the mantle spinning the other way, you
right. But what is the mechanism that allows for it to do it? They have no idea. And it isn't about a big iron core. That if it was they don't think it's a whole core spinning. They think it's all these little pieces. The only theory we got for the Earth as a sphere is little pieces that are basically doing their own little thing and aligning as if they're a big magnet. So it's a bunch of small dynamos that are connecting into one field. But we actually have no known mechanism that's allowing for that to happen. But that is what our current cosmology says is happening.
Ireland, can I ask you a favor?
Go ahead.
Can you get at me on Twitter, and then through there you can send me like some links and stuff to some of the shit I should check out on this?
I do not have Twitter. I got Skype and
Twitter?
Google Hangouts because of this stuff. I don't even have Facebook anymore. I don't trust my information to go out.
I'm going to put do you have Discord?
Nope, just Google Hangouts and Skype. That's it. That's the only contact on the internet I have.
So with the magnetism, I think I can answer that. The motion is what causes the magnetism in the Earth. With the bar magnet, it's the orientation of the atoms.
Right, but what I'm getting at is our current version of this doesn't have, like, say you want to believe it's an iron core in the middle spinning the opposite way of the mantle. What's making it spin the opposite way? They have no mechanism.
Don't they theorize that what started the Earth's mantle spinning was a massive asteroid impact, which basically restructured the surface of the Earth and set the core spinning?
And that's how the moon was created?
Yeah.
Tiny dust particles in space, when they collide, they start spinning, and then they collect on each other and just continue to spin.
Yeah, if you just scale it up, it's the same principle.
As far as I know, is what I've learned is something impacted with the Earth in its very early stages, and the crap that flew off because of the impact is what got caught in the orbit and became the moon.
But the moon is a space station for the loser people, so that can't be what actually happened.
But realize what you're saying is you have something. You're talking about something inside the Earth spinning the opposite direction of the Earth for all this time. But our current theory says it's a bunch of small things in the lava, like actual.
My question is my end all be all question is still like the only legitimate question that even pertains to me. What does it affect? What does it change in my life?
Maybe you're not human.
But I'm okay. So what? That doesn't mean
maybe you don't exist.
I still have to. Okay, but I still have to get up and go to work tomorrow.
No, you don't.
You don't have to go to work. So.
I mean, I don't have to go to work, but let's face the facts. If I don't go to work, I'm going to suffer the consequences of that, right?
Nope, that's all part of your. All in your head.
Everybody has a different.
Electric company, man. I'm going to hit them with that one. I'm going to hit the electric company with that one. I don't need to pay you because this is all in my head.
Do it.
There is no solution to hard solipsism.
We only exist
some people do this
on God's notebook.
Well, some people believe their theology is the reason they're into this, right? Like, I believe it has to be this way because this book says so, or because what I've been taught by a school, or whatever it may be. And other people are like, I only want the truth. Some people are just like, I just need to fucking know. They want the truth for truth's sake, knowledge for knowledge's sake, no other reason. I don't know. Everybody's different.
Well, I think there's a difference between like belief and knowledge, right? Like what you're talking about, like with a converse Earth or inverted Earth or a flat Earth or a spherical Earth or whatever. Like that type of stuff doesn't really affect my day-to-day being, because regardless of what you call gravity or how you explain gravity or say gravity doesn't exist or whatever, I'm using the term gravity because it's just the common way of saying the thing that keeps me implanted on the planet, right? I don't care what it's called. If you change what it is, if we go to the flat Earth thing and it becomes up and down force or whatever, it doesn't matter. I've still adhered to this planet, right? Like, so like it being flat really doesn't change anything like per se for me.
So flat earthers don't really believe in gravity, right?
No.
I'm led
they
to believe
don't.
it's either an accelerating force upwards, if you can call it up, or some kind of buoyancy density thing.
Or electromagnetism.
Or
Those are
electromagnetism.
the three
That's a new
things
one I've
we've
got to
heard.
write on the list. Look into that a bit more.
So how do they explain how heavy things are without gravity?
Well, I'm not
Dude,
an
I don't know.
anti-gravity person, so
What makes a small piece of lead weigh more than a feather without gravity?
I don't know.
It's there's a reason. I mean, you can call them theories all you want, but there's a reason these theories exist.
their version is
And
terminal velocity within gravity. But I gotta cook some dinner, and I just want you guys to remember, there is versions of this cosmology that are not globe, flat, or concave.
What should I look for? Because I actually do want to go spend like 20 minutes and read something. Like, what do you suggest me to read?
Go to BuzzFeed.
Good God.
Triple P for Secretary of State 2020.
I'm voting again.
Ireland, come on. I'm serious.
I'm working on it. I'm getting you. I think, honestly, I would go look at the wiki on Hollow Earth, and I would look at the concave Hollow Earth section of it that talks about that Egyptian mathematician. And I think they misclassified what he's talking about as a concave or hollow model, because it would still gravitationally be a globe, and everything you measured light-wise would be flat, but it would model as a concave that was hollow. So go ahead and look at Hollow Earth's wiki, and then from there, see who he's talking about or what they're talking about with that guy, and who did stuff on him, who he researched, like who he submitted to, what his books were called. Look those up, and you'll start finding stuff.
Okay. I just literally got that pulled up right in front of me. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. That's where I'd start. Anyway, I'm gonna go finish cooking some burgers up. So if you guys are still on in a little bit, I'll come back and say hi in about 10 minutes. And if
Now I'll be ending the hangout here shortly. But thank you for coming along and participating, Mr. Ireland.
Yeah.
I'm loving the avatar picture, by the way. That's absolutely fantastic.
Boondock Saints are badass. And you guys can add me to whatever thing you got to do on the Hangouts if you want to invite me at some other point. So.
Yeah, well, that's why I was asking you if you have Discord, which I don't know why you don't have Discord. It's current year, my dude.
I don't know. You convinced me to get it on the next one.
Here, hold on. I'll solve this for you right now. If you move your mouse around on the Hangout screen, you see like the chat on the side?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to put a link in there. All you're going to have to do is click on that link, and it'll take you to Discord. I'm pretty sure it's just like email and password.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's just a desktop app.
Yeah, it should be just email and password to get the Discord.
It's more secure than Skype, so if you use Skype, you should be fine with Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I clicked it. I got it in a separate window. I'll check it out.
Cool beans.
Go from there. All right, y'all have a good one. I'm out.
All right, later, man.
Peace.
Peace.
And then there was 6.
Mm.
Damn it!
That's
I was just going
That's close to another word I like.
To think I'd
Pretty
almost
high.
not join this Hangout.
You know you've wanted to come along to one of my hangouts, man. You know you've wanted to come along.
Yeah, it's not that I don't want to. It's that the time commitment, because I can't leave once I get in here because it's always so entertaining.
I mean, come on, man. I'm pretty much your campaign manager over here. You know.
I know.
Gotta come more often, bro.
You've been getting votes all night. I wasn't
That's for
even
Prez
campaigning.
2020.
All I was doing was mocking everybody.
That's the president memory we need.
Whew,
I'll
man,
don't put the shit out there on Reddit. Oh, right, but yeah, I have got to close the stream here in a bit. So, what do you guys want to talk about for 10 minutes? Get our minds off the flat Earth, hollow Earth, concave Earth, inverse universe theory, electromagnetism, so on and so forth.
I think we're all on the ball of a Kamehameha wave from Goku, and that explains gravity.
That's
we're
true.
just
got
flying
a
through
point.
endless space in an anime episode.
real life is just a Dragon Ball Z episode?
I mean, if you really think about it, everything that we know is just a theory. I mean, it's
A game theory.
I mean,
Wait.
who's to say we're not?
Thanks for watching.
Fuck's sake, Seth. You're
As if there
killing me.
wasn't enough cringe in this goddamn chat already.
I mean, I legitimately didn't know anything about the inverse universe like theory, and then
No,
when
that
I
was
googled
entirely
it,
new to me.
whenever I googled it, the first 7 results were Yu-Gi-Oh related, so that instilled a lot of confidence in me personally.
Well,
I
Yu-Gi-Oh
don't know.
is clearly a product of the government, and they're just trying to subtly mock you, I guess. Maybe.
We're
I don't
all
know.
in the shadow realm.
Well, I bought like 10,000 of their cards when I was 14, so they got me.
We're all secretly in the shadow realm. That's why nothing exists.
Well, you're going to the Shadow Realm, Jimbo.
The
You're
whole
all
reason
thickens my imagination. This is brilliant.
it could be. We could. I mean,
We're
prove or not.
getting into the realms of like Shakespeare and shit. It's like I think, therefore I am, and crap like that, isn't it?
Yeah, that wasn't Shakespeare.
That wasn't. No, I know it's in one of the.
This is more like
That
a
was
counterculture
the card.
subreddit. Therefore, I am.
Isn't it in Richard III that line as
That
well?
was, no,
I think
that's
therefore
to
I
be,
am.
not
To be is not to be, and all that crap.
Making up theories about
Right,
the universe
I'm
is
really
the new
biased.
counterculture.
I'm not Paul Joseph Watson. That's a vicious rumor started by someone that wasn't me.
Now, was CMB ever brought up whenever you're talking about the Big Bang? Because I was only in here for like the last 10, 15 minutes.
CMB.
What?
CMB.
Yeah.
Cockblock.
Cosmic microwave background.
Oh,
I
cosmic
learned
background
about-
radiation, which
Yeah,
makes
maybe it
the
Yeah,
universe
uh,
look like a bunch of neurons in the brain.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
much proof that something exploded.
Hmm.
Are you talking about like the
Which-
redshifted light that shows that it's moving, it's expanding?
No, it's
No.
radiation that was left behind from the Big Bang that we could actually measure. It's pretty in our
Oh, that's some. Okay, I was thinking of the
telescopes.
other thing.
We,
I was thinking of the
we
other evidence. Sorry, my bad.
There was it's pretty much just white noise that we can't find where it's coming from,
Racist.
and it's and they figured out that it's like background radiation that was left
It
behind
comes from
from
everywhere.
the Big Bang.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it comes
it's all
from
around
everywhere.
us in the universe, and it's because of something like that exploding. I mean,
Yeah,
like, you-
but the predictions they made about the size of it were so far off. It's not even funny.
That's okay. Every guy does that.
There. I'm sorry. For fuck's sake. Oh, I'm tired.
I don't know. I just can't wrap my mind around flat Earth. It's kind of silly.
Sounds like you've been huffing too many chemtrails.
Chemtrails is a whole nother stream.
I guess I just didn't get enough woke in my Cheerios this morning.
You didn't spike it with super vitality to buck the system.
Oh man.
I just want to know why it matters. Why, like, I understand like the pursuit of knowledge. I get that. I totally get that, right? But
That's pretty much it. Like
Yeah.
this doesn't affect your day to day, no matter what.
No.
Like
yeah,
it's just
well,
one-
unfortunately
all
for
about-
me, I'm more worried about things that affect my day-to-day life. I guess is kind of my general philosophy.
Somebody's breaking
Yeah, I
into your
mean,
house.
I'm
Well,
like
what
that too.
shape is the Earth? We got to get our priorities
Yeah,
straight.
Did you ask the guy breaking
So
in?
what about them taxes?
yeah, yeah.
Sure.
And
Taxes aren't real.
Antifa riots and Muslim invasions,
Taxes are not real.
nuclear fueled fucking North Korea and globalism and social
Well, someone
justice and
should tell
alt-right
North
and all this
Korea
other
that you
stuff.
can't.
But no, put that on hold because flat Earth, right? Like,
Someone should tell North Korea that you can't even split an atom because prove it, and then they'll be like, "Whoa!" And then there goes your nuclear threat.
Sets for Pros 2020.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We need to get this man in the Oval
You guys hear
Office.
me?
Oh,
Yeah,
Mockery, you
finally.
have returned.
Okay,
That's gonna
good.
be
I
over.
don't know what
Good
was
job.
Well, we have 5 minutes left, so now it's time for you to stop being a fly on the wall and respond to literally the last 3 hours of conversation. Go.
Yeah, I
Fortunately.
was trying to talk for the past couple of minutes, and it said my mic was registering, but apparently you guys weren't hearing me.
Nope.
But this is there's been some stuff like the whole like on the pier looking at trying to find Belgium and stuff like that. That was interesting. But a lot of the stuff I was seeing was just like, well,
Fucking cliffhangers.
I agree.
Tune in next week.
Figure out next time.
Tune in next week on Dragon Ball Z.
See it all connect.
Just more proof or nothing but a
Wait,
Dragon Ball Z episode.
sorry, my mic just popped out.
Giggity. Happens all the time.
Keep going.
But no, it's then some of the other stuff was just pure woo, or just like
Tons
pure
of
postmodernist
speculation.
insanity, or it's like it was
mean
no, it's just
pure
like
woke?
well, yeah, it's just like it's how do you know this doesn't exist? It's like how do you know the other thing doesn't exist? It just comes down to going between those 2 points. And it's just kind of a useless debate. And then I just look at it's like, oh yeah, there's a live stream of the ISS, and the world is round and they are in orbit and the Earth is spinning. And oh look, it's New York City.
It's called
But prove to me that's real.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
it's not.
that ISS feed, you could get the same thing by having a camera pan over a lake on a sunny day.
The
Well,
link
that's the
isn't
thing.
real.
That's what I'm saying. It just comes to denialist bitch slapping at that point. It's pretty much going as like, well, you don't know it's real. Well, it's like, how do you know that it itself is real? And vice versa. And it just goes back and forth and it ends up being useless. And that's what a good hour and a half of this has just been completely about. So it's like, I myself believe in, muck conspiracy to a certain extent,
Right.
but space not being explorable or something like that, or things like that. It's, it doesn't seem to be in the interest of, a military industrial complex, and it's just, it makes absolutely no sense. It's like, why would they be conspiring to say, it's like, look, we're completely insignificant.
Because
It's like,
control, man. Because control.
well,
Yeah.
yes, because control, but it's so
Because
much easier to control
Can't
people
weaponize
by,
space, I guess.
ignorance.
It would be much easier to control people if you told them that the Earth was flat, honestly.
Yeah,
By telling
Exactly.
them that we have hope to go out into space and colonize, that's giving them hope.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
giving them.
I-
Here's the thing: it also
I-
bestows meaning. If the Earth was flat and it's confirming a whole bunch of, the biases of various religious factions and stuff like that, or even just saying it's like this is the only plane that we are, that we can inhabit. Period. It seeks to bestow some sort of, higher meaning to humanity that simply isn't there. Now, that isn't to say that human life does not possess meaning. If anything, I think it bestows more meaning because our meaning isn't transcendental. It's something that we make, And so I prefer the nameless, listless specks sitting in the universe, because like I sort of see it in the vision of, this tiny little speck might go on to conquer the universe. Who knows? And that's
it's
the thing.
only-
It
we're
leaves
only
everything up to
insignificant
possibility.
in the eyes of the universe, but I don't live in the eyes of the universe. I live my life. I live my
Yeah,
life
and the
through my
universe has
eyes.
no eyes. So
Yeah.
Prove
Well,
it.
But I'm ju-
You could say that you
I
are the
prove
eyes
it.
of the universe experiencing itself.
here's the thing: there exists no positive evidence that the universe has eyes. Okay,
Prove it
it's
doesn't have eyes. How about that?
here's the thing: the absence of a positive does not vindicate the existence of a negative. That's the thing.
Prove it.
I believe the burden of
You
proof.
don't know about the military-industrial complex, my dude.
Until you can prove to me something that's not written down and not just in a mathematician's notebook, I won't believe you. I mean, and that's just how it is.
Okay, well, here's the thing: is I believe the whole existence of like okay, if we're going with the original point here, it's the existence of the universe having eyes, like literal eyes, The burden of proof does not sit on, the people who say there are no eyes because there's no evidence for eyes. The burden of proof sits upon those who say there is an eye, and then you have to go out and find that evidence. Otherwise, it's just, it just ends up being bitch slapping. The whole.
We are the eye.
On a side note, I think the burden of proof, regardless of whatever the argument is, lies on the person who wants to prove or disprove something. Whoever's trying to make the point is who the burden of proof lies on.
Exactly.
So if you're trying to disprove something, then the burden of proof lies on you to disprove it.
I don't know. I think it goes a little bit both ways. I mean, if you're trying to argue with something about something they believe in,
well, yeah, argue. It takes two to argue, right? Like,
yeah, you need to have proof that what they believe in is stupid or untrue or something, just as much as they need proof that it is true and that it's not stupid. And I mean, that's how arguments work. That's two sides, and both sides need to have good evidence. And then,
yeah, it's dependent on who makes the first assertion, and that's where the whole conflict between religion and atheism comes from. It's like, the first. Well, no, it's like in and this is sort of going to a not necessarily. It's a dialectic, but it's not the dialectic, i.e. Hegel. It's it's who makes the first proposition, what evidence do they have for that claim, and then what does the opposition bring to the table? Those who must inquire or something like that. That's what the entirety of the Enlightenment was about in France regarding the clergy and so on and so forth. Separating superstition from belief and stuff like that.
I'm not superstitious. I am a little stitious.
Just a little stitious.
Slightly stitious.
And in the end, what I'm trying to say is that a lot of the stuff that I was seeing on this stream was just a lot of woo, and not necessarily on your part. It was the end product was woo, pretty much that, and existential crises, amassed existential crises.
On whose part?
Huh?
You said not on your part. Who are you referencing?
Well, no, on the part of who, like in regards to the generation of woo. It's like I'm just saying, it's like a lot of this stuff was just, again, it was just running around in circles, going and saying, well, where's the evidence for this? How do you know this?
We're running around in circles on a globe or a flat Earth.
God damn it! That's true. I'm trying to be serious here.
Have you been on one of my streams before? I very rarely go serious unless I have to.
Yes, I have. Well, I've been on streams with you before, so I mean,
yeah,
you've remained relatively serious.
I do. But we still haven't answered this fundamental question between the two camps: are we on a flat Earth or are we on a round Earth? Or are we just
pretty sure
like
those little things?
We need something to
I'm not
distract
taking the
us.
vote because it doesn't matter to me.
Oh, those little those little fortune teller things you made in 4th grade. That's actually what the Earth is, and God is playing with it, and that's where earthquakes come from.
See, I always thought that God doesn't play dice, so I don't know anymore.
We are the dice he's playing with.
We are the double Taurus.
God is the dice. We're all. This is all just a universal scale game of D&D.
No, God is the Yahtzee cup.
Oh, right, I'm going to roll for initiative.
Ends the stream right there.
No, I won't end it unless you guys make your shills. So you all need to make your shills before I end it. But I will have to end it soon.
All right, who wants to go first?
You go first.
All right.
No, fuck it, I'm going first. Stop. No, I'm just kidding.
You're such a dick.
She said with great elation.
Stop for President 2020.
Jesus Christ, man. Can I have a beer with you at some point in my life, please? Seriously.
Prove beer exists.
Beer is meaningless.
I'm currently drunk.
Hey, no, I'm not standing for that. Beer is not meaningless.
APM, can you bring us back down to reality in a rational, logical, philosophical sense, please? We're going way off the reservation here, and I don't think my heart can take it.
I'm very tired. I'm not sure I can do it. But yeah, I'm a philosophical mind. Go watch my channel if you like or don't. But I make good shit, so try. Yeah, that was it.
Next.
Next.
All right, I shall shill. I am the mockery of Voltaire. I've recently made my first YouTube video on fascist ideology, so drop by, like, and subscribe, perhaps.
I'm gonna dislike because Hitler did nothing wrong.
I'm talking. That video is on Mussolini, so take it as you will.
Yeah, wait for the next one.
I have to wait. I have to wait for the sequel.
That's for Press 2020.
Yeah. Next.
Next.
Next. Yeah, we got 3 people left.
Come on, guys,
So-
make a shell. Come on.
Go on, Sets.
I was yawning. Hold on.
Triple
Okay.
P is
I
just here to
am-
be cool.
He doesn't have a channel, or he does, but doesn't.
I'm in
But yeah, I'm
everyone's heart.
Setzeroth. Yeah, I'm Setzeroth TV.
He's
I don't
just a
do
cool
content
guy.
anything like this. I'm just a gaming channel. So
Well, go ahead.
Yep,
We like
that's it.
games.
yeah, well, I mean, it's just my screen name. Look that up, and that'll be my channel.
Games aren't real though.
Well, I mean that's
Very good.
Okay, so
Philosophical
Wait,
cat.
Pac-Man, you have a channel?
Nope. Well, I mean, no.
technically, but
Not on,
Yeah,
not on
technically,
YouTube, but on RedTube.
you're still rocking. You're still rocking the Age of Empires video we made when you were like 6 years old. With
Dude, and it has
Hypercam.
like 4 times as many views as anything you've put out.
Oh.
No.
Oh. Call 911. We have a burn victim.
Okay, so that leaves me. I'm
Hey, did he
purposefully-
make a shill?
No, stop it! I'm shilling. Stop it. Actually, this isn't shilling. This is self promotion. I'm purposeful discussion. Come and subscribe to my channel. He'll put a link down below because I'll fucking make him. And if you don't subscribe, your mother will die in her sleep tonight.
memes.
And I'm 2 mics on the mic,
Man.
and this has been the Flat
I
Earth
like
Yes
my
Really
mother.
stream. These guys are awesome. The guys that came on were awesome. I make history videos and other random crap like that with really bad sound effects and shit. And we'll all catch you on the next one.